Welcome to Brick Road. I'm Jordan, and today we're going to watch some Michael Tracey, one of our favorites on this channel, and he's going to explain more Epstein stuff to us. But first, don't forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. And yes, they're not going to me if you donate to them. It's going to hopefully charities or friends I know that have had money stuff going on. So please donate if you feel like. Only if you feel like. Also, please join the Discord if you want to join that. All opinions are welcome, so please join up with that. And you can say your ideas if you're a Michael Tracey supporter, or you're against them, or you're like, yo, fuck that guy. You're allowed to say that here. So please join up if you feel like. And obviously this video will be linked in the description box, or anything else I show you will be linked in the same description box for you to look at on your own without us pausing it, talking over it, whatever. But I have a feeling we're going to do a lot of pausing because we've seen a decent amount of Michael Tracey's content in regards to the Epstein stuff and the Maxwell stuff. And I wish I actually watched I was going to do that. I was going to do the Ghislaine Maxwell's brother where Michael Tracey interviews him. I didn't watch that yet, so we're missing out on that. But we have a bunch of other Michael Tracey stuff that we've seen him talk, some of his ideas, some of his protections, or even defense lawyering, as Glenn Greenwald called it. So we have some context of Michael Tracey talking about Epstein, and it's a new day, though. Let's give him a chance. He's on this show called Dissidence. Let's hear what he says and their pushback and their questioning. Let's see where it all goes. Without further ado, let me turn. They don't have closed caption yet. Okay. Without further ado, here's Dissidence with Michael Tracey to talk about Epstein. Here we go.
Hello, dissidents, and welcome one and all to a Sunday evening.
Your mic is off.
Oh, what happened? Oh, it's because I
switched. I hear him. Okay.
There we go. Now I sound.
There we go.
Right, there we go. All right. Let's try that again. Hello, dissidents. Welcome one and all to a Sunday evening edition of the Do Dissidents podcast. Keaton Weiss here with Russell
His hair
Diver.
is fucked. He's like, yo, fix that shit.
Namaste.
I rolled out of bed hair.
Namaste.
Look at that fucking cowlick,
well,
bro.
Thanks everybody for being here tonight. We got a great crowd in here.
Look at that one piece of hair just like, I don't give a fuck what you say, bro. I'm breaking out.
Over on Rumble. Russ is going to tell you all about his trip, but not yet. Not yet. We're going to jump right in. We, of course, have a special guest.
Trying to match with Michael Tracey.
This evening, he is on Substack.
Yeah. He's trying to copy Mike.
Net. He can
sweat
also
a little
be
bit.
found all over the Twitterverse at Michael
some push-ups,
Tracey.
some
sweat going. Over under on him coming from sauna.
Who he is, where he's down here. Here he is, Michael Tracey.
24/7
Michael,
sauna.
good evening. Thanks for joining us.
You can't wear hoodies, Michael.
Good evening.
You're already sweating enough.
How are you, Michael?
Michael has a comic book hairstyle. Look at that little fucking zoop in the front.
Just for a stream,
What you
ever,
Look at his Fallout Boy.
we can get into it.
All right.
Oh, I know the meme.
Well,
I'm above the law meme.
In New
He
York,
looks like Jimmy Olsen's like
let's see.
nemesis.
So hey, let's start
It's
out.
that asshole
where we
reporter
do
that no one
agree.
cares about.
You have said numerous times that
Sorry.
you are for full transparency vis-a-vis the Epstein files. You think everything should be released and available to the public. Do I have that correct, more or less?
Correct, but can I also just sort of set a bit of context, set out a bit of context for this discussion?
Sure.
Which is that I recall over the summer, I was being contacted by maybe listeners to your show or people who were aware of both of us who were demanding that I go on the show and defend my views on Epstein, which I relayed that I was perfectly willing to do. No, I'm not one to go around petitioning to come on any particular show. But, I recalled having come on your show. I think it was November or December of 2024. And then occasionally I would be sent something or told something that one of the two of you said about me that I did not regard as properly.
Don't do that I should, Michael.
Views or distortion of my views. So I would always offer, hey, I'll come on and explain them for myself so I can characterize my own views. I'm happy to do it.
If you have enough followers.
I've been trying to get people.
Yeah. I'm not trying to cut you off, but just to be clear, when that first started happening, and we were seeing ourselves tagged, and you were responding, yeah, sure.
I was about to say, invite him.
At that time, we hadn't
everyone's
actually
invited,
talked
including
about
Michael.
it. We weren't even really tuned into what you were writing.
Okay,
about
that's
this.
fine.
We weren't even paying that much attention. Later on, more recently, when you said, "Hey,
Even
well, if you're
Jared
going to
Taylor.
say that,
Come on,
well, yes,
guys.
I did
We're
say
friends,
something.
guys.
We invited you on."
Yeah, I mean,
At
we
that
didn't.
time, I don't know
And
where
then,
that was coming from.
As time went on, the overt trolling that I saw from the two of you seemed to intensify.
And that's why we invite.
Let's stop pussyfooting. Listen, I'll say it for you. Michael, you look like a fucking weirdo when you're saying these things and behaving the way you're behaving. That's what you look like, in my humble opinion. You may have a good reason for it. I can't say I know that, but you scream like a fucking weirdo to me. That's what it looks like to me. Just put it out there and keep it moving. Honestly, guys. Anyways, let's continue. Here we go.
That's why
I guess it culminated when I saw the video.
At the time that I first saw that, we weren't actually saying anything. I don't know where it was coming from.
Well, we may have made an offhand joke or something, but the point is, Michael, if I could just get in here, the point is,
on Epstein.
The point is,
if I'm a gatekeeper
viewers
on
of ours,
Epstein,
hang on
one at a time, boys.
1 second, just one thing at a time.
Yeah.
YellBro's Discord?
Who
What the
may
fuck?
troll you on Twitter? They're not affiliated with our show in any way. They're not our booking managers. So if they tweet at you, you should go on. That's not our agents.
That's not what I was even trying to emphasize.
Agents.
What I would
you need
more
agents for
is that in the past, I don't know, month or two,
Mhm.
I've seen overt trolling from
I don't care, bro.
the
don't need
two
a
of
fucking
you
agent for
personally.
YouTube. Fuck
And
off.
I guess it culminated in a video that I was
You got to screen them.
when that it's got a big thumbnail declaring that
Anthony,
I'm
if I
a
get famous, you're my
gatekeeper
agent,
along
by the
with
way.
Matt Taibbi of
Congratulations.
the issue, which is
Congratulations.
Hold up, pause it.
ever possibly accused me.
You ain't getting no work. I don't pick up numbers I don't recognize. Yo, who this? I don't know.
Exactly.
Agent
Exactly.
Getting banged on.
I need you to tell me who's going to win the game tomorrow. I need my FanDuel manager here. All right, sorry, prop. Go ahead.
Their YouTube agent is like he works directly for YouTube, and it's the same guy that works with Jimmy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's on. They do that on YouTube? I didn't know that.
Yeah, bro. It's
Okay.
like you get a YouTube rep that
Plugged
tells
in.
you like what you can and can't say and what's safe.
You got plugged in with
What
Jimmy.
the fuck is
But
that? What?
But
Yeah,
that's
like
a
during
rep. It's not a
during COVID,
agent.
Jimmy kept being like, "Oh, my YouTube fucking connection or my YouTube manager or whatever is saying I can't talk about this without saying this."
We don't know if that's these guys.
If that's true, that's fucking crazy. What?
Yeah, well, that's not an agent though. That's a representative to like.
We don't know if these guys.
It's basically like your customer support. If you're
Terms
you're
and services.
large enough,
right?
Yeah, because most people don't get anything, right? Like you just get a check.
But it means you're an asset to YouTube at this point.
Well, that I'm not surprised by. Like, someone's like, "Hey, you have one of those plaques that we like, or whatever the fuck. You have a plaque of how many followers you have and a lot of shit. You make us money. You know what? We'll give you some leeway to make sure you don't get your channel canceled or whatever the fuck." That, although as shady as that is, it should still be like a robot just saying like, "Hey, here's the terms and services. That's it, equal across the board." But that makes a little bit more sense than like, "Hey guys, we watched your last video. Can you like tone it down a bit, or like maybe do this a little bit, and maybe like." Is it like that, or is it like actually like agent shit? Like, hey, get some contact with this other content creator, and you guys link up or something. Is it anything weird like that, possibly? What do you got?
It's more of a. I think it's more of a customer support where you can actually talk to somebody instead of like, like most people
issue complaint.
They can't. A regular person can't complain, right? Like they fill out a form and who knows what happens.
Yeah.
Got
So
it.
if they're large enough, they get a little bit more concierge.
Got it. It's Call of Duty, which is also a sham. It's Call of Duty. Like, hey, this guy's cheating, but you're a random guy 547, so thus your report means nothing. But if Tim the Tap Man says, hey, this guy's cheating, someone from the game, like developers and whoever the fuck, will directly ban that person for cheating. Versus you waiting for 7 days to go by, like, hey, did my report go through? Right? It's Call of Duty, essentially. Which I don't get it in the sense of fairness. I get it in the sense of logistics, right? Like, hey, you have 20,000 people watching you, so thus you need to get cheaters out of your view of the game. Versus Bob, who just got off of work, he's like, let me play some Call of Duty, and gets shit on by fucking hackers. Like, well, Bob, wait like a couple weeks, maybe a month or so, maybe a couple months, and we'll ban that guy at some point. Boom, justice. See? Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. In fact, they called them the fucking button. Tim the Tatman and some of these streamers called these guys the button. As in, hey, this guy's cheating. Call the button up. As in, like, push the button, this guy's banned. But for regular people, that wasn't the case. And in fact, there was actually protection for those guys, for content creators that are famous. As some channel called the Darkroom showcased, Shout the Grandpa Hacks, where those guys wouldn't take damage from cheaters because they were protected by whoever the person was from Activision or Call of Duty or whatever the fuck.
Kind of like Epstein getting that immunity deal.
It sounds like YouTube content creators maybe saying the wrong thing or saying something weird or whatever the fuck, and maybe having a way to get out of it. Versus if you're Bob547 on YouTube who has no following, you might get shit on and banned. Or suspended, or a strike with no real legal recourse. You don't get to talk to anyone. You're just dealing with robotic, kind of like bot answers, right? Are you satisfied with our service today? No. Oh, well, please try to call over here and do this. Okay. You talk to a fucking answering machine. Press 1 if this is your problem, right? Versus these guys getting like direct access, right?
Yeah, it's not intended to be about fairness. What the setup is that, like, because these are tech companies, so their whole model is, can we, automate everything, right? Like humans don't scale in the cost. It's like it's very expensive, so they try to automate everything, and so basically nobody gets service. But because large channels, they have revenue sharing, right? Like they get more ads, and so they also pay the creator more. And when there's the size is large enough, and they're like, okay, well, we can work with them, right? Because that's a small number of people. It's much more scalable than like trying to address every single person. They just wouldn't do that.
Yeah, but it's also
that's the reasoning.
Fair enough, but they're projecting fairness, though. They're projecting that, right? Advertisement-wise, they're projecting fairness, but they're not actually participating in fairness, right?
I think it's more protecting the.
They're projecting fairness.
Who are content, who are revenue generators.
Got it, but they're projecting fairness, though. They are projecting that. Come on. Terms of service.
I don't think it's fair.
No, I'm saying they're projecting, as in like, we're fair over here. They're projecting that, right?
Yeah, meanwhile they shadow ban and fucking do the sussiest shit to people.
Yeah. They're projecting to their customers at that this is a fair system and things like that. But it's not. It's not fair. It really is based on like how many views do you generate, whether you're could be a bullshit artist or not. We saw that with Crowder, right? If you're a bullshit artist or not, you're still treated better than regular content creator who may be saying something that might be true. Doesn't matter, right? But they project like it's fair. That is undeniable. Undeniable. It's marketing as fairness. It's not actual fairness. Duh. No matter how lame these three fucking dweebs are on my screen right now. Doesn't matter. They garnered a following. That's all that matters. Which is obviously not actual about fairness when it comes to terms and services. Duh. Anyways, let's continue.
How many followers do these guys have? Like what?
Enough.
Or do they have an agent?
I'm sure these guys have an actual agent too, by the way.
A rep?
Yeah, they have the same guy that Jimmy has, I said.
Well, these guys used to do Broadway,
that's
so
a rep.
They might have had one.
No, I'm sure these guys have like actual agents for like, hey, do you want to do this ad? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Do you want Rumble exclusives? Because these guys are big on Rumble too, right? Or sorry, as far as like getting, being a part of the machine of Rumble itself, right? I'm sure these guys get leeway and shit like that. Like, hey, should we talk to Rumble about this? Or, right? I'm sure they have like an actual agent. And then their agent can probably talk to the agent, or their lawyers can actually talk to reps at Rumble, at YouTube, at whatever place they fucking do their mediocre content at, right? Their late mediocre content. But all right, either way, let's keep playing. Kind of went off topic there, but just like weird. The advertisement's a weird thing that we do around here. But here we go.
wanted to call it the PDF file defense.
Okay, well, whatever went up
accuses me went with
gatekeeper for Epstein. Now, if I'm a gatekeeper,
I said Epstein discourse. I said of Epstein. I said Epstein
how is it
discourse.
that I'm in such an extreme minority where I'm constantly and viciously attacked for my position?
I'm accosted
on Epstein. My views are not shared.
I haven't even asked him a question
anyone yet. In the commercial media, in the alternative media.
Just arguing.
There's a total convergence on this subject, more or less, between the so-called edgy podcast, alt media, and the commercial media.
This guy doesn't
like
have a
CNN
big following on YouTube, but I bet he gets some protections too. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I wouldn't be surprised by that.
Anybody to seriously claim that I could be a gatekeeper of any sort on Epstein when I've been nothing but bombarded with derision for my views on this, and they're in no way do I have derived keep what the acceptable position on Epstein could possibly be, because I'm in such an extreme minority that it's laughable. And then there was another thing that came.
Well, Michael, once again, just bring up the thing I said earlier, which is certain things you scrutinize to the nth degree, other things you kind of let go by. As in, like, I don't know, like it paints a picture when you let certain things go by, but scrutinize other things. It looks a certain way. Can I explain that about why is he doing that? I don't know. I have no reason for that, but either way, let's keep playing. Here we go.
Up where
we're not here for that. I mean, right? We're here to hear some new ideas.
I'm a public enough figure that I can tolerate a good deal of trolling. I will.
Yes.
I will assure you of that.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, you snickered out something, a clip of me, and try to make it seem like I'm like a sexual predator.
No, we didn't make it look like you were a sexual predator.
You still have the notion that maybe I could come on.
No, first of all, Michael,
that's when it gets a little weird.
Okay. We had nothing to do with it. Look, that's just pillow talk, baby. You know, we're inviting John here for the real meat of the conversation.
That's a major pause.
I mean,
that's crazy.
If you're gonna put out stuff on social media,
what's the real meat, bro?
To insinuate that I'm some kind of sexual predator.
Well, we did
not do that.
Response?
We did not.
That wasn't.
He looks like he has makeup on right now.
Extremely careful not to do that. Russell wanted to troll you harder in the thumbnail, right? And I said I tried to.
Now this is screaming gossip so far.
Gatekeeping.
I want to talk about the actual topic of Epstein.
You are sort of insinuating that peers in this space are sort of
out of line
in making certain assumptions and insinuations about the case.
I'm not insinuating that. I'm openly
you are
asserting
appealing to a certain journalistic authority that you claim in order to deem certain peers out of bounds.
Tracy's just upset that Keaton outdid his look.
It's a YouTube thumbnail. We only have 100 characters. You post videos on YouTube, right? I mean, if I could write a paragraph titling the video exactly how I would categorize your attitude to the issue.
It was beyond the thumbnail, and there was stuff in the video itself that I don't precisely recall at the moment that was also totally wrong. And then I believe it was Russ who on X constantly posted stuff from what I think is his own account, you know, basically accusing me of being a sexual predator, saying I have some sinister desire to just in general defend like pedophilic wrongdoing or something.
I mean, I jokingly shared that clip, which I did not make. But I haven't. I mean, I don't think that, so I haven't leaned into that.
I mean, do you want me to pull up a quote? I'm not trying to litigate any Twitter or YouTube drama necessarily.
I would rather be trying to litigate it. Yes, it sounds like you are.
But you said, "Hey, I'll be happy to come on to discuss."
Correct.
And I said,
"Here we are."
Glenn Greenwald calls you out.
I invited you immediately as soon as you said that. I invited you. So
that's few defenders.
In terms of things you might not have liked in the video we did.
I guess the point is, and this is the last thing we have to say.
I'm actually going to
talk about. If I constantly see extremely uncharitable and incendiary depictions of me or my views,
I want to smack him across the face.
It's more than possible to
but if I say that,
have me explain my own.
If I'm like, yeah, Michael, I want to smack you across the face right now, bro. If I say that to him, he'll be like, you heard him. He wants to physically assault me. I'm like, come on, you don't do shit talking, man. Are you that dweeby, my man? You can't like just talk shit with people, be like a dude at the bar or whatever the fuck. You can't do that shit. And that's what he's doing here. It's like, I was accosted. She touched your shoulder? Is that what happened? Maxine Waters like touched your shoulder? I was accosted by her. She accosted me. It's like, yo, shut the fuck up. Like regular dudes be like, yo, shut the fuck up, you sweaty little gremlin. Fuck off. But he's gonna say, I was perplexed by the propensity of proportional motion and like shut the fuck up. Holy fuck. We have the sources too, my man. Like, talk regular, you fuckface. Weeb. Sorry, it's not part of the argument. It's just a little pet peeve of mine. Like, yo, talk regular, motherfucker. Christ's sakes. Here we go.
Invited you. So that's why you're here. In terms of things you might
I was propelled in a proportional way.
And I guess the point is, and this is the last thing we have to say on it, if I constantly see extremely uncharitable and incendiary depictions of me or my views, and it's more than possible to just have me explain my own views if you're going to devote a lot of attention to portraying them, then I think it would be reasonable to just have me come and speak for myself, right?
We're here right now.
Here we are. Okay, great.
We're here right now. Now, we put the video out right before the holidays. We invited you on right after the holidays, and then you canceled because you weren't feeling good last week. And so here we are. All right.
Excellent. Okay.
All right.
Let's do it.
Perfect. All right. Good.
Yep.
So we agree that you want full transparency as it pertains to the Epstein files.
Yes.
Now, what is your critique of your peers' attitude towards this case? Because it does seem like a media critique overall, right? You seem to be of the opinion that so many facets of the media, both mainstream organs and independent organs, are being very, very irresponsible in their coverage of this case.
Correct. I mean, it's not wholly a media critique. I have gotten very deep into the weeds of the factual issues associated with the Epstein case, broadly speaking, and there are many dimensions of it, which is in part why it's so enduring as a salient issue that commands such political, cultural fascination. But yes, there is a media critique embedded in my overall outlook as well, in that I think the media coverage of this story from virtually every angle has been absolutely horrendous, to the point that it's almost staggering. I mean, there's very little regard for even minimal factual standards, verification of anything. People just exist in the realm of like inflammatory, speculative assertion and think that is adequate in terms of like a rational journalistic approach to this subject. And like I said before, interestingly enough, that indictment that I'm making now would apply in pretty equal measure to both the alternative, edgy podcast media and to the more mainstream media. And what makes that...
Okay. I have to stop him there. Once again, I think the main point from the quote-unquote thinking people, I can't speak for any podcast or anything like that, but I'll say from my perspective is that, well, they've given us, like, you could see them working hard to stop those things from coming out. I wonder if Michael would agree with that. Like, are they working hard to make sure these things, like, don't come out? I'd ask Michael that. Like, are they doing that? If they're doing that, why? Whatever reason he wants to come up with. Like, so that's like, okay, then you should be like, instead of asking for, hey, how come you guys aren't saying, like, maybe there's nothing here? It's like, well, just, if you more so fighting for it, release everything. That should be the fight itself. Logically, for the sake of, get the information out there. And guys, look, there is no giant ring of things happening. It's one kind of pervert guy, maybe got taken advantage of by underage girls, or whatever the theory comes up with, right? Like, you want full disclosure, but like we've gotten, right, small percentages of the actual things that they have, and they've been lying to us throughout this entire process. How are you ignoring that? I'm sorry,
and through multiple administrations.
Yes.
Like, this has been going on since Obama.
Then you finally get like a Transparency Act, by the way, on the backs of things that Michael Tracey was there to like shit on it, kind of. Right? Remember the victim speaking in front of the fucking Capitol or whatever the fuck with Thomas Massey, Ro Khanna, Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? And he was there to ask tough questions to the victims, right? Which is, okay, fine. Ask tough questions. Fine, do that. But at the same time, like, that action did lead to this whole Transparency Act that we still haven't gotten yet. Still. It's supposed to be out already. We still don't have it.
No. They've given us everything they have like 6 months ago.
Oh, stop. They gave us this percentage, and then they're like, hey, guys, we found 1 million more, actually. It's like, there's 1 million more? Oh, shit. I guess you got to release that, too. And this would be Michael's vindication, wouldn't it be? It'd be his vindication if he's like, see, look, all the files are out there. There's nothing to it. No big deal. Nothing crazy happening over here. There's no giant conspiracy happening. See, look. But instead, what's he doing? He's like, I don't know. You can go with the guy who's making content saying, hey, man, look, Jeffrey Epstein, he was best friends with Hillary Clinton. They went on boats together. They did weird sex stuff together. Like, you can focus on that if you want to and call it, lack of journalistic integrity. Or you could just be like, hey, release the fucking information that you do have to prove that, like, it's just something, I guess, quote unquote, normal versus like a deeper conspiracy, the Illuminati, eyes wide shut, things. Or even sex trafficking or sex trafficking rings and girls being whatever the fuck. Want to give all the information out there, right? But you're like,
yeah.
It's like he's making these arguments.
Well,
So, yeah, God. It's just
there's a good example of we've learned a lot of things, even with the cover-ups. And one of the things is when they found that they can unredact some of the things, just see what's under there.
Yeah.
That they're actually redacting things that are not like victims. They're redacting a lot of information that are not in the scope of what's allowed to be redacted according to that law. So it just shows to the extent where there's intentional hiding of things. And I hope they ask them about that.
Well, they were charged to explain their redactions, and don't worry, we ousted the president of Venezuela. Don't worry, so we don't have to answer that question anymore. Apparently, there's also some of the copy and paste unredactions by like regular people, right? They copy and paste from the redacted files, right? Paste them in a separate page, maybe a notepad or something like that, and they'd be unredacted. And you'd see somebody moving money around for Epstein surrounding, these massage things, people traveling around, purchases of things. Like, why is that redacted? Why? And yes, Jesse, they should ask questions like that. Hopefully they did their fucking homework and are able to ask questions like that, because that one, like, make that make sense. They fucked up with the redactions. We saw what was underneath it, and that makes no sense to actually redact. Maybe their names, maybe the names of the people here, right? Maybe they had nothing to do with this, or just money men. But you still want to point out that money got moved around surrounding something like maybe suspicious, like just saying, like maybe a hunch suspicious. So why not cover that? But uncover that. I guess I would say. But let's see what he does with scrutiny, because he struggles with it. Let's be real. Glenn Greenwald had this fool spinning in circles and sweating harder than he's ever sweat. And Glenn Greenwald is not that good at what he does, in my humble opinion. Sorry, Glenn Greenwald. I mean, he's all right at questioning. It's just like he has to have like a certain narrative or maybe team he's leaning towards at a certain time to ask certain questions. But either way, okay, let's hit play. Here's more of the Three Musketeers.
Doubly interesting is this is one of the...
Sorry. I have to leave and come back. It's lagging really badly. Forgive me, YouTube. I'm sorry. Yeah, bro, clips coming soon. Who knows? All right, here we go.
And to the more mainstream media. And what makes that doubly interesting is this is one of the rare issues that I can never remember where, for the most part, the mainstream commercial media, for example, CNN, but we could go well beyond CNN, and the more like podcast-oriented online alternative media are basically of one mind on a subject. I mean, can you remember, or can you proffer like another obvious example of that being the case? I'm not saying that necessarily makes inherently either the alt media or the mainstream media wrong just because they have that convergence, but it is somewhat notable. And I think the reason why that convergence exists is because the premises underlying the Epstein story are just so chronically underexamined, in part because...
Exactly. As in, the main theme is release the fucking files. Duh.
But that's not what the mainstream media is saying. The mainstream media is kicking the can down the road, and they're only talking about it because the public outcry to talk about it.
Well, that's kind of where I was going. The people that watch these things, their main theme is we want more information, which is what Michael just asked for, which is, once again, I think the main point of regular people. But either way, let's apply. Here we go.
Media or the mainstream media
we already know Michael
they have
Tracey.
that convergence, but it is somewhat notable. And I think the reason why that convergence exists is because the premises underlying the Epstein story are just so chronically under-examined, in part because if a journalist actually does apply proper scrutiny, what happens? Well, I can attest that you get flooded day in and day out, 24/7, with the most defamatory accusations, accusing you of,
their feelings.
as
Okay.
Russ said in one of his tweets, being suspiciously prone to just defend sexual predators or pedophiles for its own sake, as though you get some kind of perverse
It can look that
pleasure
way,
from
Michael.
it.
Sorry.
Or having people constantly say that the FBI should seize your hard drive, because you can't be motivated by any legitimate journalistic instinct in examining this stuff. You have to be motivated by some foul sexual depravity. And that's what I've been inundated with for months now.
I wouldn't go there,
as I've been focused on the story. And
you're sweating for the wrong reasons.
Part of the overall, mass hysteria and moral panic that I would argue is very much attendant to this issue, but it does also contribute to this convergence of I think a bogus consensus in various sectors of the media on Epstein, and just the general lack of standards and incendiary, unsubstantiated extrapolations that characterize so much of this story. And I think that has a lot of bad consequences in terms of abridging civil liberties, in terms of just fomenting a general climate of panic and hysteria, which is
where'd it go, though?
Inimical to rational thought.
Where's the panic and hysteria? Where'd it go, Michael?
Also, causing a widespread misdiagnosis of political issues that I think are legitimate and need a rational diagnosis, but when they're swept into this whole miasma of Epstein histrionics, that causes people to make, I think, misguided diagnoses of various political issues, especially around foreign policy, which is something that I spent quite a lot of time on and have for many years. So
because people are looking into the Epstein files or want to know more about it or go with Pizzagate or something like that, they could misdiagnose certain foreign policy issues. I would say possible, but that's not what we've seen, though, right? Venezuela overran the whole Epstein files, right? It really did. Or the ICE thing, the Minnesota and ICE thing, Renee Good thing, ran over the Epstein files. Iran right now, running over the Epstein files. I don't see how it seemed more like the White House did not use the Epstein files as a tool to get people to buy into their foreign policy. It looked like they were trying to get rid of that as a topic, seemingly, Michael. That's what it looked like to me. It didn't look like they were using it to parlay into foreign policy. It looked like they were using it. Sorry, they were trying to not put it to the fucking side. Say, this doesn't matter anymore. Fuck it. Shut up about it. Unless you think Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna are bringing forward this Epstein file stuff in order to, for what foreign policy venture? Is it because because you guys want to investigate this, you end up team playing on this? Because of that, you'll end up team playing in regards to every other topic. But that was already in existence before the Epstein files were a thing. That's already the case. It's I'm trying to make sense of what he's saying.
They're using the Epstein files to try and make us go to war with Israel.
It's I'm trying to make sense of what Michael Tracey's saying. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I'm gonna rewind again and just let it play. But it's you love foreign policy, right, Michael Tracey? How's the Epstein files getting in the way of that? Because what I saw is the foreign policy's gotten in the way of the Epstein files. what we just saw from recent history, right? I'm just saying. But all right, here we go. Fuck, genius, Michael Tracey.
Hysteria, which is like inimical to rational thought.
It's creating irrational
also,
thought.
Causing a widespread misdiagnosis of political issues that I think are legitimate and need a
really
rational diagnosis. But when they're swept into this whole miasma of Epstein history,
where is that at? Are they like, listen, they're all pedophiles. That's why we need to take over Venezuela. Listen, Renee Good, pedophile. We need to like, it's okay she died. Like, where is that at? Iranian regime, all pedophiles. Like, what are you talking about?
I think he's kind of conflating the whole like Pizzagate shit and the salaciousness of that and the Epstein files and how like there's a subsect of people that will say crazy shit like they'll just say full out just what they think and not what they know or whatever.
Like, oh, they're all.
But that's just such a small percentage of people.
Okay, well,
and even if they are saying that, who gives a shit? The point of it is what the government's doing, not what some idiot on Twitter's trolling you about.
It's like there's no way he fell for
it. It's Twitter fucking mind.
There's no fucking chance that he just fell for that shit like that. That's kind of crazy.
I feel like you got bullied into this position or something. Like it's like either you get blackmailed or you're like somebody picked on you and then he just like locked his heels in or something and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna prove you wrong.
Maybe. Like a pride thing, possibly. But
yeah, like he's the best journalist because he's actually uses like facts, but he's missing a hell of a lot of the story.
Yeah,
I'd be interesting to just chill with him for a day and talk about this topic and what he actually knows.
He's burning himself, I think, with all this.
Because he just repeats like court shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, sure, I could go to Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer and just repeat what he said.
Exactly.
Like he literally said that Ghislaine Maxwell didn't have any like connection with Epstein sexually, and that she was just oblivious to it all. And then this Maria Farmer girl like says that Ghislaine was like one of like the main. She was like the procurer or whatever. Her and Donald Trump's ex-wife, Ivanka or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They would like. She said one time they were in a car together. And they were driving somewhere, and Donald Trump's ex-wife just told the driver to stop, and then they got out of the vehicle and procured these two, like, underage women or whatever, or girls, and like tried to like tell them that they could be models and all this kind of shit, and that Trump's ex-wife was like ravenous on this front.
I can't say I know. I've heard of some of Maria Farmer's testimony, which we have to actually get to, the Jason Burmis one. But I've heard Michael say that Jeffrey Epstein changed his behavior because he started taking testosterone. And I'm like, where'd you get that from? Well, he got it from Ghislaine Maxwell talking to Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General. And it's like, what? Why are you taking that at face value? No questions about it, by the way. He just kind of like just said it, repeated it.
Changed in what way? Like everybody changes when they do to fucking hormone replacement therapy or whatever.
But the fact that he just took it at face value is kind of, repeated it without like real question to it. That was weird to me. But
he took fucking steroids and became super horny and pedophilic.
He's like, I like underage girls now. Like what?
This fucking stuff's got weird side effects.
What the fuck? Whatever. Okay. Either way, let's play more of this. It's just like baffling to me, but here we go.
Embryonics, that causes people to make, I think, misguided diagnoses of various political issues, especially around foreign policy, which is something that I spent quite a lot of time on and have for many years. So those are
I've seen your foreign policy takes.
Basic views. And in terms of, you asked me initially,
Michael,
am I in favor of transparency? Of course. I have multiple pending public records requests, FOIA requests with multiple government agencies at the state level, the local level, and the federal level to get Epstein-related materials that are currently being concealed by the government. I'm 100% in favor of maximum transparency. That was one of the reasons I criticized the Epstein Files Transparency Act as it was called, that was passed in November, that was drafted by Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna, that all the people who are fixated on Epstein seem to assume, but totally groundlessly, was going to finally compel the government to unleash its Epstein files and give in to this transparency. But I guess everybody forgot to read the actual text of the bill, because that bill was drafted by Massie and Khanna in conjunction with the so-called victims' lawyers, who run just an extortion racket that's massively lucrative, and
appealing to authority for negative reasons.
Impressed upon the drafters of that legislation the utter necessity of including in the text of the bill sweeping exceptions to transparency.
Saying it's an extortion racket.
The government would be required, or would be at least strongly encouraged, which then gives the Trump DOJ huge latitude to redact whatever it wants. But the bill provides for an exception where records of the government's possession can be redacted to protect the supposed privacy interests of alleged victims, and the criteria for determining who's a victim is incredibly amorphous, and basically entitles the DOJ to redact virtually anything it wants, because of course the Epstein investigatory files are going to be extremely elaborately intertwined with information that can be deemed to be intertwined with the so-called identifying information details of alleged victims. So then when the Epstein file statutory deadline finally arrives, that would require the release of the files per the legislation on December 19th, and there were documents that coming out with just huge blocks of all black redactions.
So your interpretation is that was done to protect the victims who you feel are running a con? Is that what you feel they blacked that out to protect victims?
Oh my God!
Well, if you're perpetrators, not collaborators, victims.
Overwhelmingly, it's about protecting the alleged privacy interests of alleged victims. Hence why the victims' lawyers and the politicians who drafted the bill were so adamant in insisting that they would strenuously prioritize the need to protect the identifying information of alleged victims. And if the government,
that's not unusual in sex crimes cases.
You got to let him finish.
That's not.
You got to let Michael finish, because I don't know if he's going to be like, okay, listen, guys that didn't do anything wrong, but their names are in it, those could be considered victims too. I wonder if he's going in that direction, because he hasn't outwardly said it yet, but he's kind of saying like, well, these guys are the victims, quote unquote victims, are actually liars. So why are you covering their names? The Alan Dershowitz argument, essentially. And what's it? Forgive me, that sounds like I'm appealing to authority, so grain of salt with that one. But still, it's like Michael has a theory instead of like, it's not based on like, well, here's all the documents, here's what I think. It's more so he's walking in with a theory to, just like the guys he's blaming, right? He's saying like, yo, you guys are like fucking, you guys think it's all Pizzagate and Hillary Clinton and Democrats and whatever the fuck your ideology is telling to say about the Epstein files. Or like, oh my God, all these elite, pedophiles all over the fucking world, right? You guys are walking in with that, not your like journalistic like integrity like I have, right? But at the same time, he's like doing that right now, right? Is he not doing that? Is he not saying that?
He's doing that, and on top of doing that, he's saying, "Look, nobody read the bill. I read the bill, and that's what it allows for." It's not actually what it allows for. It does allow for not disclosing victims, but he's basically making it sound like, well, according to the way the bill was written, that's why we could redact all of these things. And that's not like, you can't justify the redactions that we saw based on the victims, because they redacted, like there was whole pages that you don't even know what the topic of the page is. They're just, that's not just the victims, it's everything. They were just, so he's actually covering for the reason why there's so many redactions. While saying he doesn't want them.
Well, it's almost like he's saying, Jesse, that the victims and their testimony or stories are being blocked out for the sake of using this Epstein story as a tool to brainwash the populace into ignoring certain other political things, and I'm like, what? I like my brain's rotting from like I'm like, what? Like I just get kind of confused actually. Like I'm trying to understand like where is he coming from in regards to this? I don't actually get it. Like I think I like scrambled my own brain trying to think about it. Like what are you actually saying? What are we trying like they're trying to block it to use it as a brainwashing tool for what? You hide evidence to brainwash people into asking for more evidence? Is that the idea he's going? I don't fucking know what he's saying. I don't know what he's saying, dude. I don't get
it. He tied it into like extortion. So he's already like framing, you know, like and any victim is basically a money hungry, gold digging, you know, like actual person who's responsible for this.
Wait, is he saying like they're hiding information to get people to care more about the information so that they could distract them or trick them with that into something else? But meanwhile, like who's talking about the fucking Epstein stuff right now? Like it's not a thing right now. It is. It isn't really. God.
He's saying that this editing somehow helps the case of the extortionists to win. You know, because if they saw all the details, then they would know, like, how
I'm wrecked.
Epstein is the innocent one.
Yeah, I'm wrecked. I'm gonna back up a little bit because there's another thought I had. It's just like it's not like his confidence drops a little bit. Let's hear it out. Here we go.
Who drafted the bill were so adamant in insisting that they would strenuously prioritize the need to protect the identifying information of alleged victims. And if the government, as it's claiming, if they're over like 1,000
not unusual
victims,
in sex crimes cases, though, Michael.
What's that?
That's not unusual in sex crimes cases. Generally, the names of the victims are redacted unless they choose to have them released. Like that's not an exceptional request in a case like this.
Well, it's an exceptional request in the case of the Epstein issue specifically.
Because they're all liars.
Because there are no adjudicated victims of the supposed 1,000, or Ro Khanna now says 1,200 victims of Epstein, who meaning that were adjudicated in some bona fide adversarial legal.
So they don't exist.
Other than a total of one from the 2008 plea entry that Epstein did in Florida. So it is unique for anybody to just be able to declare themselves a victim with no standards, with no verification necessary. And that will just be taken at total face value to flout radically the idea.
He's a weirdo, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This guy's a fucking weirdo. I'm sorry. It's just like weird, something weird about like this is the last time too. I'm like, yo, there's something fucking weird about this shit, right? Am I tripping? I'm not.
He backed out of his arguments. He the same as Glenn Greenwald interview. He like even if after he admits to something, he backs away from them. Like he mentioned one person, and if he goes into detail, he's talking about the 17-year-old by one date to be birthday. He's omitting the 15, the 14, and how does he do it? He's saying, well, you need criteria for that, right? So he basically is under his consideration. He's brushing away all the other girls because he's talked about it about they used fake IDs, you know, they did whatever they were trying to like get money out of them. So he doesn't count those. He doesn't count them, even if they're underage.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck if they're 28 years old. Like, show me the shit then. Not their names and their address. Like, I'm saying, like, show me the incident that looks fucking weird. Show it all. Please. Like, what the fuck are we doing? What the fuck, dude? This guy's a fucking weird. He's acting like a fucking weirdo, bro. It's like, what is this shit about? Do you know someone? Is it you yourself? Like, what's going on here? Okay. Yeah. All right. Here we go.
Bring about is full transparency of all the Epstein files. Now, it would be one thing if they said, okay, we're just going to redact the names, but it's far broader than that, right? It's any information that the government deems could potentially be linked to an alleged victim and could be used in some roundabout way to potentially identify them. So you're giving the government this enormous latitude to redact virtually anything it wants.
Okay, so
and
you seem
that was
to be
specifically codified in that law.
You see,
that was not the spirit of the fucking rule of it. Let's be honest. Yes, you can finagle with any fucking ruling. You can finagle with laws. You can play with those things. Was the car about to hit him? Did he feel like his life was threatened? You know, was she speeding towards him? Was she trying to kill him? Right? You can play with like perceptions and the law and all that shit. But the spirit of the idea of the Epstein file stuff was for clarity and disclosure. Duh. And they actually like projected that to the audience, like, hey, we're gonna like show you the fucking truth about this stuff. Right? That was the point. And if some guy's shuffling money around, they want to know about it. If someone got fucking raped, they don't want to know their names. Like, let them have a peaceful life over there. Don't fucking expose them. Unless they're like, hey, I want to be like, yo, that's me right there. I'll expose myself. Like, that's me right there in that transcript right there. They have so many questions they can go through. Sorry for pausing. Let's just run through this. Let's let it
be of the opinion that the
There's
more sunlight there is on these victims, the less credible many of them
on
will
everything.
Look, yes, okay, all right.
So, why do people who want transparency think that it's appropriate?
Yes,
for there to be this glaring, gaping, enormous exception introduced, where we want transparency, but not
their
when
names?
It comes to alleged victims, including many who were
Sam
adults at the
Dershowitz.
time of their claimed victimization. So we're not talking about pedophilia. We're not talking about quote unquote child sex trafficking. We're talking about adult women who, for one reason or another, got involved in Epstein's orbit or his milieu, and then years after the fact decided that they had an epiphany and realized that they were in fact trafficked when they were adult women, and then received millions and millions of dollars of tax-free settlement money.
We will get into this.
Became available after Epstein's death.
He's such a weirdo, bro. Do you have an ex-wife? Someone find his phone.
I have some.
You have an ex-wife
regarding
calls money or something.
Into in a little bit, okay?
But
let's
just conventional with victims and sex crimes.
It's not
even
the manner in which the redactions are undertaken on this issue is not
the person by definition
much more
has not
expansive.
been proven to be a victim in the lead up to a conviction, but they still redact the names. They don't release the names of sex crime victims or alleged sex crime victims. And obviously the circumstances of the Epstein case are unusual in that he's dead. He's dead. So does that all of a sudden give them the right to release the names of people who didn't get the opportunity to adjudicate this in a court because he died?
He looks frustrated. What's wrong with this guy, dude?
Are very bizarre and mysterious circumstances.
I admit that as well.
It's like, what do you do with that? Holy fucking shit, dude. I don't know. If you have someone who's like 100% clear as day, you're not guilty of a crime, why not block their names out? Like, as far as your best guesses, like the way you understand it, like this person's not not a part of committing a crime. Block their fucking names out. But Michael's argument is like, no, they are part of a crime. They fucking, they fuck with Epstein, bro. They fucking extorted this fool. So thus, they might be criminals. So thus, unhide their names. That's his argument, I think. I think he's saying like they are criminals. I think that's what he's saying, dude.
Yeah, he's saying that, but like why he wants, like we've seen the people that he does know their names. For each one of them, he's dug up dirt to say, oh look, there's a crackhead, so they're not credible. Or this person, she's a liar, so not credible. And he systematically goes through them to dispute anything that they say. That's where he needs their names.
He's like, is that your uncle's some shit, bro? What's going on, Michael? What is going on? Here we go. Fuck it.
But we can get into that. But
okay, all right. Well, look.
I mean, are we in favor of transparency or not? The Epstein Files Transparency Act was a
There are
standalone
special
statute.
reasons
It's
to
a standalone
protect
statute.
victims of
In
sexual
theory,
assault
it could
that we
have
as a
actually,
society recognize. It's not specific to this case.
Yeah.
but the terms of this particular legislation and now law are specific to the Epstein case. This is a standalone law. It's called the Epstein Files Transparency Act. In theory, it could have actually
But it
been
follows
full
precedent for
disclosure
cases like
of
that.
all
Michael,
Epstein-related
hold on,
records.
But Michael,
because
big picture.
you
Epstein
feel
took
so
Yeah,
money
that's funny.
He's a
How
weirdo.
does
it change it for him?
It was decided that we're actually going to make
know their
giant
name. How does it
carve-outs
change?
to
What
prevent
happened?
actual transparency?
All right.
And then people are so shocked when the records come out and there are these unwieldy, endless redactions. as
Okay,
though
but
it
big
was-
picture, Michael.
So you believe
big
they were
picture, Michael? Your
199
critique
pages
of this case
black.
transcends the
Oh,
Epstein Files Transparency Act. Like it does. Like you've
Yes, it
been
does.
talking about this for months prior
Yes,
to
of course,
that.
yeah.
Okay, so all right. So look, I think
Tell us their
that-
And by the way, the
names.
I think we
DOJ,
got a good
the
jumping
DOJ
off
has
point
said that
here.
it's in the files.
All
It's
right.
redacting the facial images of any woman.
All right. Yes,
It doesn't matter
I
if there's
understand.
even an allegation that those women are victims.
It's not
Any
true. We saw
woman
something there where they weren't
is
redacted.
having their faces, their facial images, according to the DOJ,
I understand.
Redacted.
presumptively redacted.
Just
Now, tell
random
me how
people.
That's consistent with transparency, please.
Michael
Because
Jackson
that's what the victims'
kids.
lawyers want.
I'm sure we will get into some of this stuff. I think that's fair as a jumping off
Show
point.
their
So I'm going to toss
goddamn
to Russ in a
faces.
second, but I do have to. I think most of that was fair. The part of that that's not fair is at the beginning where you are very indignant about being trolled
He
on
redacted
Twitter. Okay,
Trump's
so
daughter's
No, I'm not.
face.
Indignant about being trolled? Is that where you're going with this? What are these fucking idiots doing? It should be like, yo, they're clear. Do you agree? Like, hey, Michael Tracey, do you agree that the Trump White House is trying to hide these things? Do you agree with that? Like, he needs to answer that question instead of like gossipy. Did you get trolled on fucking Twitter? Excuse me. Here we go. Whatever.
I'm not. Again, I can
Or
take
that their
it-
actual lives
No,
could be in
well,
danger
you seem
by
pretty upset about it. Okay.
No, I'm not.
So,
having their names out.
here's somebody, Michael.
If
give
I
me a
was
second,
genuinely
please.
upset about it,
Like,
then
Michael, will you protect these
I
women
wouldn't bother
if their
with this issue.
names go out,
You seem
get
pretty
out,
upset to
and
me,
they get fucked
okay?
with?
You seem pretty upset. Okay, so you
I can't.
tweet out
You'll attack him.
Epstein-related tweets here. Political.
Can rub his
posts.
forehead on
When
the
I was a kid,
pavement,
I was
and
molested
the
by
bad
a
guy will slip
half-brother.
on it and
I
fall.
did not realize the trauma until
best.
many years later. My dad was once beating that half brother, and I, as a second grader, jumped on my dad and tried to choke him out to protect said abuser. Hope that helps, dumb fuck. To which you replied, congrats, I guess. Okay, so you're telling me that's not an extremely insensitive sort of clap back at someone who's telling you a horrible story like that? I'm not, again,
I mean,
we don't have to
obviously, it's
litigate
done-
this, okay?
of
It's
course.
not,
Yeah,
it's not like,
I
look,
call-
I don't
calls me a
mind
dumb
it. I
fuck.
always respected you as someone who can take it as much as he dishes it. So
Yeah, of
let's
course.
just kind of call that
Oh.
even, I think. I think that's
No,
fair.
I
Major
can.
pause.
Okay,
I mean,
good.
I don't know that I would place that on the same level as just calling someone a pedophile.
I mean, I'm sure
or
they
demanding
would.
that the FBI
I'm sure they
seize
would
somebody's
place that on
hard
the same
drive.
level. And this speaks to an overall
okay,
critique
but-
that people
but-
have
if
of
you
your
wanna talk
general
about that,
attitude
that was a
towards
guy
this issue,
calling
which
me a
is one
dumb
of great dismissiveness about victims of sex crimes.
I have no idea who that person is. Neither do you. You have no idea if they're just.
If
making
someone
something
tells
up,
me
if
that
they're
they-
legitimate.
Okay.
The guy calls me a dumb fuck. He introduces some claim
called
about
me
his
dumb.
own personal life that I'm in no position.
I'm
nor
smart.
are you to verify whatsoever in relation to a
Okay.
totally
All right.
unrelated
He's better.
circumstance. So
gotta
yeah,
say, man.
I was cheeky in replying to that guy because I found it bizarre that
Right.
just randomly on Twitter he would
Holy
start
Christ.
pontificating.
I love how they're
about
just
alleged
fucking
abuse.
yelling at
Right,
each other.
To most, this is what I'm
As if
just-
that somehow detracts from the point that I was
I'm just
making
telling
about
you,
that
for someone who
alleged
seems
victim.
very
Do
surprised
dissonance
at
and ask
the
simple ass
strong
questions
negative
and make an
backlash
answer
you're
for them.
getting about your coverage. This is why, like,
At least
I
they're
don't-
hot.
I'm not surprised that people are reacting
so gay for that
strongly to your
statement.
I'm not
commentary,
either.
given that that is the way
It's
you
the gayest
react
thing
to
I've ever heard in
someone
my
telling
life.
you that they were molested by their half brother or
Oh,
whatever the
what
details
should
are.
I do? Reach out to him and counsel him and
Ignore
like
him.
give him
Ignore
resources?
We get trolled all the time. If
Okay, I
someone
mean,
told me that on Twitter, I'd fucking
It was a
ignore
one-off
him.
little thing.
You're gonna
Yeah,
troll
troll them too.
back? That seems very. People don't like that. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying people when they read
Okay,
that
well if
they
they don't like it, they don't have to follow me.
Okay, but then don't be surprised when people
I'm
have
not
this
surprised.
perception of you as someone who is like very callous about this whole issue.
YouTube, I'm not
That's all.
controlled. Control the
Callous about
soundboard.
someone who
Okay,
calls
it's
me a
not me.
dumb fuck.
All right.
Claims
well,
that he was abused as
I
a
allow it
child,
anyways.
which I'm in no position to verify, and tries to use that as
'Cause I
emotional
can.
blackmail to somehow discredit a point that I was making about one of the government witnesses who testified in the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, propositioning Jeffrey Epstein for sex when she was an adult woman in her 30s. Now, explain to me the connection between that, which we should go into. I mean, people might find it interesting. And some random person on the internet
I just wanted to clear
I'm a
that
child
up.
molestation
He'd
victim,
be getting
therefore you're a dumb
soundboarded
fuck
all
as
night.
to what you're saying about this
I'm being
alleged
accosted?
Epstein victim.
We have a lot of dumb fucks who call us a lot
Be
of
like when
very
Passage
bad
argued
things.
with him
too
up in here.
sensitive
Our
for
whole trilogy
Some
about
of them
how
are doing
Daryl
it in the
Cooper's a
comments
dumbass.
right
I'm sure.
now.
Yeah,
By the way,
You
I'm
can't
sure
take it.
99% of
Wait.
the comments
see,
on this
that's
video
something
Bro,
we
you
need to
imagine
be
prop oil
antagonistic
checking
toward
Michael
me.
Tracy.
I get it. It comes with the territory.
All right, so then it comes with
All
the
right.
This
territory.
dude,
Okay, so if you're
Good.
trolling
he
me,
calls
if you can't
SWAT.
handle
He
a
calls
light return fire trolling, then don't troll in the first place.
This is an attack.
Okay, but
It's
my
personal.
point is,
Oh,
my
I'm calling
point
the
is,
cops.
you seemed very,
Shut up, you
you
pussy.
seem very taken aback by people's, visceral
That's what
negative
Tracy-
reaction
taken aback
toward your
by it.
commentary.
I'm not
You
taken aback
seemed
by
a
it.
little-
Tracy
I was
seemed
talking
like
about the
it was
trolling,
uncalled for.
not because I want you to be sympathetic with me or for
That's
anybody
crazy, bro.
to
I guess Michael
he-
Tracy's the
shower
goat.
me with concern
I guess he
Good.
prop.
for my mental health. Or
Prop, you stick your
for my
thumb
mark
up
because I
Tracy's
get
butthole,
nasty
wouldn't you?
comments on the internet. I was talking about it from the standpoint of how
He's in
this
class.
constant inundation of trolling helps to explain why the media coverage of the Epstein story, both in the online media and the commercial media, is so poor.
All right.
Because if anybody takes a more rational approach and
Want
actually
to have
examines
the
the
better
evidence
example
and doesn't
then,
just
and lean
buy
on
into
that.
this hysterical outburst, which is the dominant theme in much of the media, then this is the reaction they can expect to get, and most people don't want to be
Why don't you
inundated
have a better
with
take than them,
accusations that
then?
they're
All
a
right, fair
pedophile
enough.
or
You want
they're
the better
You seemed
take
upset
than
about it
them.
as me.
That's
That's
my
my
truth.
truth. That's
Right.
my
He
lived
is a dumb fuck.
experience. Is
I
that
mean,
you seemed
or-
upset about
all
it.
right, so
So
let's-
that's my
so
point.
you
Your
wanna
lived
talk about-
experience isn't accurate.
That's my lived experience. Well, you can't
My
say
lived
that.
experience
All
is
right.
that
I guess you
I'm
can now. You
inured
couldn't
to
say
it.
that under Biden. Now under Trump, you can say that. Don't worry.
All right, so
The
you want
pendulum-
to
This is
talk
our
about
guest.
journalism. Yeah, it always does. So
It's
let's talk
a
about
debate
your
challenge.
journalism, and this was
Let's be
something
honest,
that came
right?
up in my video,
Or,
which
challenge
I want to give you
personality
every
thing, whatever.
opportunity to address this. So you wrote an article posing the question of whether Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile.
Was a convicted
This
pedophile. Convicted
was
pedophile.
a convicted.
Important.
Okay, was
Yeah,
a convicted pedophile. All right.
Correct.
So this is
This dude,
You play with
he
words.
jumped out his seat. He jumped out his seat to say that shit. Get it right. Get it right. He ain't convicted.
Michael Tracy
right.
and Matt Taibbi. What is going on? These guys were like heroes to these motherfuckers, like, what, 10 years ago or something like that? Like, what
years
the
ago.
fuck,
5
dude?
years.
What is going
You
on?
seen the South Park episode with Michael Jackson, and every time they reference like his crime, it'd be allegedly. He's like,
You're
convicted.
ignorant.
Yeah,
You're
convicted.
ignorant. Stop.
that one.
Stop being ignorant. Yeah. That's just was Jeffrey Epstein a convicted pedophile? Like, okay, where are you going with this?
I believe he was, but I don't know.
Yeah. This so-called sweetheart deal, right? He calls it that, right? Where the guy has like
Oh, wait a
work
minute.
release and all that shit, right?
Wait, actually, he was, but no, because it, like in the first case, it was reduced to like prostitution.
Oh,
And
they
in the
stopped the
second
full
case,
trial, right?
uh,
Yeah.
In the second case, he killed himself. So yeah, so he before he got convicted.
So he took it.
So
He
I
took
guess
a deal.
technically no, technically no, and technically yes.
So he took a deal in the first one, right? To
Yeah, he took a lesser charge.
in the second one, he
Well, basically admitting it, right? But like, there's lesser charge.
well, you know, lesser charge, immunity for my friends, all good, right? Like these guys have
Immunity.
layups, by the way, in the Epstein files. Isn't there like a list of like 7 or 8 other potential like we were part of this shit too, motherfuckers, right? That were blocked out, names blocked
The
out.
number came out. Yeah, that number came out now. We knew in the first one that all conspirators up to that point were immune. They had immunity.
And now we
that's part of his
found-
deal.
Now we found there's extra co-conspirators, minus Leslie Wexner, right? His name was unredacted, but the rest were redacted. And what's Michael complaining about? Show the victim names. Show their names. Where's the victims at? See how there's like simple questions you can ask? to Michael Tracey, like, "Yo, how did this happen though?" And he'd look mighty stupid if he said, "What about the victims though? Show their names too." It's like, now you look uber sus, and he knows that, and these guys, the whole audience would notice that. But instead of asking those questions, I guess we're going over this article. We're leaning into Michael's affirmatives, right? Instead of like what we have in front of our faces. What are we doing, guys? Fucking Christ. All right, whatever. All right, here we go.
The article, I know this is yours. You're sharing the byline, but you make it clear this is yours.
Yeah, I wrote it.
You wrote
Matt Taibbi's like, I'll sign off.
This is what it reads in part. No one's being asked to condone Epstein's overall behavior or act like it's a good idea for 50-year-old men to be seeking transactional sexual encounters with 17-year-olds. But seriously, in the grand scheme of things, is the conduct
there was a 14-year-old
Epstein was convicted in 2008 really a sufficient basis for the entire political and media class to be frantically proclaiming day after day that the United States circa 2025 is in the
story went away,
giant
Michael.
Pedophilia crisis? Because this deceased convicted pedophile had consensual sex with a girl in Palm Beach on the literal eve of her 18th birthday 20 years ago. Come on, and there's a little later, to be clear. Come on, people, this is pure hysteria. Again, no one has to endorse Epstein's skeevy lifestyle to observe that if the intercourse with Ashley Davis had taken place in New York or Massachusetts or one state north in Georgia, she would have been above the legal age of consent in those jurisdictions, and the entire legal trajectory of this debacle
with a straight face.
He's
sitting there with a straight face.
But as fate would have it, the intercourse took place in Florida, which has the highest legal age of consent, 18, virtually anywhere in the world.
He just asked, like, well, what is 18? What is 17? He's asking those. He just did that, right? Am I tripping? He just said, like, well, I mean, if it's
he's trying to lean to the letter of the law, and then he's saying, well, but this law is like excessive at the same time.
And then he's trying to argue the whole like pedophilia versus fucking zootophilia or whatever the fuck that when you're fucking a teen versus like a prepubescent person. Like a prepubescent person is pedophilia, and then but it's still like it's and he's trying to make mince words, and it's like colloquially we just call people that are old and sleep with fucking teens and kids pedos.
Listen.
It's like if he wants to make the statement and try to correct people without being a fucking loser about it, I'm totally for it. Like there is a distinction, but it's like it's just like a word, like it's like a scientific word distinction. It's not like there's a moral distinction. Well, there might be a moral distinction, but it's still fucking wrong on both ends. It's like 10 degrees worth of bad or fucking 11.
I'd let people speak, like, as far as if you was in a time machine and some guy from 18th century was like, hey, yeah, I married a 14-year-old, what up? Like, they mean it. They believe it. That's their worldview. Got it. What is Michael doing here, though? What's he doing here? Is it actually about, like, this is what I believe the age should be? Is he doing that? Is he making a philosophical argument about, like, what means adult, what doesn't? He's not. No, he's not, is he? What's he fucking doing? That's the real thing.
He's an 85 bear thing right now.
That's fucking weird. And maybe he did it in writing because he's like, I was going to read anyways. So fuck it.
He's intercepting. He's blocking. He's all over the place.
That's crazy.
He's Deion Sanders out there.
He's a 5 tool.
Yeah, like he's let each other talk.
He's 5 tools, bro. You don't care. That shit's crazy. Like, I'd never heard that. I thought that's going way too far to me, as far as like hearing all his arguments before and then reading that. It's like, yo, what the actual fuck?
There's the directness of what he says here, and there's the indirectness of what he's intentionally leaving out. He's saying 17-year-old. He knows and has knowledge that there's, like young girls, like much younger girls. And he, like he has to be backed up into it. But then he forgets. It didn't exist. Like, or they're not credible for him, whatever. But in one case he'll acknowledge it and then he'll take it away and it's gone. Like, how does that keep happening?
Like, he doesn't understand, like, the like blatant, I would say intuitive like creepiness. Like if Epstein took a girl that was 16 in Florida and drove to Georgia with her, it's like, all right, well the age is now legal. Let's do this. It's more about like it's not even an argument about like ages and what makes an adult or not an adult and all that stuff. It's more about like what is the person's intention with what they're doing. And then it then adds to Michael Tracey, like, what's the point of your fucking argument, my man? I don't mean, once again, me personally, I don't give a fuck if they're 21 years old. I don't give a shit. As far as like someone like taking advantage of someone else with lies and bullshit and
pimping, bro, it's terrible.
Yeah. But this little like jargon shit he's doing right here is like fucking weird to me, man. That's very weird. And like, hey, what about Georgia though? They're legal in Georgia. Like, what? That's your fucking argument? That looks weird. He knows it looks weird. Good luck to you. Good luck to you, Michael Tracey. Make an argument about this. I had no idea this shit existed as far as his writings about this.
Where?
That's crazy. Here we go. At the YellBro. All right, here we go.
Now, of course, this leaves out the entire
Answer this, Michael. What's up?
Of that conviction. Now, I know that you've come a lot at Julie Brown, at the reporting.
She's probably she's incredibly unreliable. So the fact that you're pulling up her 2018 series is already a red flag.
Okay, red flag to you. However,
I mean, she fabricated quotes in her book. You don't think that's a red flag?
Michael, if you're going to write an article claiming that this is what Jeffrey Epstein was convicted of exclusively, which is
I've written
true.
3 articles.
It's true. It's true as far as it. It's true as far as it goes. But if a reader were reading that without knowing any context, they would know absolutely nothing about the controversy.
This fool's not even drinking water, bro.
It's like
I'm sorry, I have to notice shit like that. He's not even drinking the fucking water. It's a fucking. It's okay to be neurotic, right? You can be neurotic. I understand that, but this fool ain't even drinking the fucking water, bro. Watch this fool grab the water, not drink it, and put it. He's fucking Obama right now. He is Barack Obama. He is not drinking that fucking water. I'm sorry.
Nothing about the controversy.
No water came out of there.
Surrounding that conviction.
Anyways,
it's
keep
like
it moving.
Writing an article claiming all they ever convicted Al Capone of was tax evasion.
He just drank his own
True as far as it goes.
He licked
so you don't
dispute
the truth
if
of
you have
anything
a reader. I don't dispute the truth that that's all he was convicted of.
Wait, do you dispute anything factually in the excerpt you just read?
That's not the point he's making. Okay,
the point is that for a reader, you are misinforming them by omission, because a reader who is not, as many people in this space are, encyclopedic on this case or very fixated on this case, if they just came upon that article and read that, they're going to come away thinking what you want them to think. Oh yeah, well, this guy, he was only convicted of this. If you're removing the entire yes, but you are removing the entire context.
Dude, Dissidence is wrecking your shit right now, bro.
And this is something.
I mean, but if people want additional context, there are many other articles that I've written about the non-prosecution agreement in Florida.
But you wrote an article that is extremely
every dimension.
Michael, you're not a dumb guy. There's a reason that you did not put any context there.
Which context do you think I should have put in?
What context should you have put in? Okay.
Yeah, like what context did I omit that misinformed the reader about whether Jeffrey Epstein
facing a federal indictment? Epstein could have ended up in federal prison for the rest of his life.
Sorry.
But on the morning of
the
this is the Miami Times,
because it has my MT logo above it, and I didn't write this.
Oh, I'm sorry. For anyone watching, that's a clerical error. This is not Michael Tracey's writing. This is Julie Brown's, to be clear. Facing a 53-page federal indictment, Epstein could have ended up in federal prison for the rest of his life. But on the morning of the breakfast meeting, a deal was struck. An extraordinary plea agreement that would conceal the full extent of Epstein's crimes and the number of people involved. Not only would Epstein serve just 13 months in the county jail, but the deal, called a non-prosecution agreement, essentially shut down an ongoing FBI probe into whether there were more victims and other powerful people who took part in Epstein's sex crimes, according to a Miami Herald examination of thousands of emails, court documents, and FBI records. Let me go back a little bit. The pack
Can I pause you
required
there?
Epstein. Let me just finish.
And all of those were sealed.
I promise you'll have the opportunity to answer.
Those don't
PAC
count in the
required Epstein to
release,
plead guilty
current release.
to 2 prostitution charges in state court. Epstein and 4 of his accomplices named in the agreement received immunity from all federal criminal charges. But even more unusual, the deal included wording that granted immunity to any potential co-conspirators who were also involved in Epstein's crimes. These accomplices or participants were not identified in the agreement.
Why'd you leave that out?
Open to interpretation, whether it possibly referred to other influential people who were having sex with underage girls.
He said Jim Acosta doesn't say that anymore, so it's not true.
As a result, the non-prosecution agreement was sealed until after it was approved by the judge, thereby averting any chance that the girl
that's for
that
he's a Fed.
And try to
Acosta
derail
doesn't say
it.
that he's
a little later in the
Fed
article. It quotes one of the
Acosta has no
investigators. This was not a he said, she said situation. This was 50-something she's and 1 he, and the she's all basically told the same story, said retired Palm Beach Police Chief Michael Reiter, who supervised the police probe. Okay, that is the context of that conviction. Now, am I saying that in order to fire off this Substack article, you had to get into that level of detail? No, not necessarily.
Which I have
but
before.
I think you do have an obligation to anyone coming across this
At least
article
cite your
to
past work
make it
with
clear
detail.
to them what the context of that conviction is, because a lot of the debate and what you seem to describe as a hysterical fixation on a minor sex crime that wouldn't be a crime outside of this particular jurisdiction is in a context in which the investigation was for much more than that. And that's what people are reacting to. To write the article that way is misleading. And I think particularly, and Matt does this too, this is, I took him to task for his Barry Weiss article that never mentioned.
Okay, I'm not
asking you to litigate that. I only mention it because he's your co-author here. And he also got into stuff about whether it's sex trafficking, which is one of the things that was actually unusual about the deal. Standalone conviction for prostitution of a minor is not a thing. That is by definition sex trafficking under federal law. That's one of the things that was odd about this conviction. Now, you might feel that because she was close to the age of consent, that's crazy, but under federal law, this should have been charged.
Wait, so hold on a second. So are you saying that anytime a 17-year-old is procured for prostitution in the United States, it's a sex trafficking offense that the federal government can just barrel in and charge under federal sex trafficking statutes?
He pulls it up
from the U.S. Justice. Child sex trafficking is prohibited. Okay, so the answer to your question is yes, as you know. Yes.
Well, no, it requires some degree of. I mean, the sex trafficking statutes.
It is a federal offense to knowingly recruit, entice, harbor, transport, provide, obtain, or maintain a minor defined as someone under 18 years of age. That's
Tracy's getting wrecked on his own rules.
Regardless of the state. Knowing or in reckless disregard of the fact
read the rules.
Is a minor and would be caused to engage in a commercial sex.
But the point is,
it was vast majority.
But context, right, Michael?
But the point is, in most instances in the United States, when a 17-year-old is quote unquote procured for some sort of commercial sex act, just in terms of sheer practicality, it's not going to be charged as a federal sex trafficking conspiracy by federal prosecutors, because
it tells me that Michael Tracey is not in Florida.
Federal resources. More likely, if it were to be charged by any law enforcement authority, it would be a state offense, and that was the case in 2008 when this new non-prosecution agreement was
federal
being
charges.
I think
Michael
Tracy lives
which
within 10
mischarged
miles
him,
of me.
and
Epstein was never charged by the federal government in
well,
2008.
They worked out a plea deal with him that was in defiance of federal law, their own law. He should have been convicted of sex trafficking, not for prostitution. That I just read you the relevant section.
I mean, I know that
law, he was guilty of
sex trafficking. Statutes are incredibly nebulous in my estimation, which is how, for example, Diddy could have been charged by Maureen Comey in the Southern District of New York on sex trafficking charges because of a very ambiguous situation involving his girlfriend of 10 years and
he's a Diddy defender
and so
too.
forth, and then gets acquitted because the jury didn't believe
Yo, Diddy,
that
get
the
him on
elements of the
payroll,
sex
bro. This guy
trafficking
go
offense had been
24/7
met.
from Diddy.
So
Can't
let's not
stop, won't
pretend that
stop.
just because you
This
can,
is a
because you
very
can quote some
different
federal
case.
statute,
Get him a
that
bad
means
boy
it was
chain.
just given that in 2008, when these kinds of federal intercessions were much less prevalent.
You would concede that based on federal law, he was not properly charged in regards to that plea. The plea was not
I don't
proper.
concede that.
You don't.
He's right
He
next
wasn't
to
charged.
read
First of all, he
you
was
the
not
relevant
charged by the
statute.
federal.
Because in Georgia it
Plea deal
says
should
16.
be
Hold
for
on,
sex
hold on.
trafficking in regards to that plea.
I want to hear him.
The
No,
plea
I
was not
don't
proper.
concede that.
You don't concede.
He wasn't
I just
charged. First
read
of all,
you
he was
the
not
relevant
charged by the
statute.
feds.
The plea deal should have been for sex trafficking based on federal law. You do not have prostitution as a standalone charge where a minor is involved under federal law. That is one of the things that was among many, like not giving the victims the opportunity to know about the plea deal, as a later judge found. That was very unusual about this case. Now, if you're going to write an entire article telling people this is all he was ever actually convicted of without mentioning any of that, you are actively misleading your readers. And particularly for somebody who spends a lot of time, as you have on this show, talking about how other journalists are getting it wrong or not doing their job properly, it is incredibly misleading and really an act of journalistic malpractice for you to write an article that so actively omits most of the relevant facts from the case of how Epstein wound up only being charged with that particular crime.
First of all, I haven't omitted the relevant facts of this case. I would challenge you to find anybody
I read
else
the article multiple times
who has more comprehensively covered
We're
all the
talking
relevant
about that
context and
article.
details from this case. Okay, that's one article. I have other articles where I get into the nitty-gritty of the 2008 Florida non-prosecution agreement, the federal intercession by Alex Acosta's office in the Southern District of Florida.
What happened with this when you fell asleep?
The prosecutors in Palm Beach County, Epstein's detention by the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, the
but not in this
factors
article.
that went into
anybody reading that article would come away
agreement and how there was a multitude of misconceptions around it. But if we want to talk about journalistic malpractice, you guys just pulled up. If we want to talk about journalistic malpractice, in order to accuse me of omitting crucial content,
you wrote an entire article that would lead a reader to believe
that
Jeffrey Epstein was
that
only
is
guilty
just
of having sex with an almost
egregious
legal girl.
omissions and distortions. And it's ironic that you would bring up at this point like a 7-year-old article in the Miami Herald when the basis
should have litigated that in your article.
In the public
if that's what you
documentary records
believe,
that people can look at for themselves.
That's fine, Michael. We don't claim to have gone through thousands of documents.
Okay, well, I have.
You have. We believe that. And it was your responsibility, if you were going to write an article like that, to demonstrate what you think is wrong.
I disagree.
With the reporting in that article.
The impetus for that article, I'm assuming you read the whole thing.
You have a responsibility to your reader to explain that to them. You can't.
This Russ guy is actually destroying this fool's life. This is usually this guy skates away, right? Michael Tracey, he kind of bullshits his way through things, seemingly, as far as logic goes. But Russ made it simple and is also asking the detailed questions at the same time. Why'd you leave that out? Here's the details of the article or of the rules and laws and regulations in regards to federal law. Here's the details, but also why'd you exclude that? Very simple question, right? That is fucking brilliant. I think he's fucking murdering him, in my humble opinion. He's killing him. And Michael's struggling, I think. In my humble opinion. Faraway distance. Don't know enough. I'm going to leave and come back real fast. Thank God for YouTube.
Yeah, he is doing a good job.
He's smoking his fucking pause. He's smoking his shit. Though.
Yeah.
He's wrecking his shit.
Destroyed. Though Glenn did do that in a way, even though Glenn was on his side. He's actually on Michael Tracey's side for he doesn't want he's his friend to some extent, right? So, but yeah, he still wrecked him too.
Yes, with simple questions like, hey man, you kind of it looks like this, man. You're not addressing these actual key points that people are actually complaining about, right? But Russ is going a lot more, like he's doing the detailed as far as like, well, let's read it then. You didn't include this. Let's read it then. And that is just the ultimate wreckage. And Michael looks a little lost. Yeah, he was prepped. And those are things I didn't even like really know about, honestly. So if I prejudge, fuck YellBro, bro. Russ is murdering this fool. He's killing him. But all right, let's keep playing. I'm actually absolutely fascinated. Here we go.
And assume that they know what you know, or they know all that background.
The headline of that article was Jeffrey Epstein a convicted pedophile? And I listed a bunch of examples. Yeah, many very recent.
What's the
people in the media, journalists describing just matter-of-factly Jeffrey Epstein as a convicted pedophile. Now, if we want to adhere to basic journalistic standards, even about somebody as world historically villainous as Jeffrey Epstein, you might as well be like Hitler and Satan combined into one, right? Then we should probably want to use the correct terminology if we're talking about a legal designation of somebody who was once a real life individual who was alive. He is now deceased, so he can't sue anybody for defamation. But if he were alive and you had media outlet after media outlet matter-of-factly declaring him to have been a convicted pedophile, he could sue that media outlet for defamation, and he would win the case in all likelihood, because he would not a convicted pedophile.
No, he would not. You concede, although you feel the Florida law is
committed against the
quick pause. He's such a weasel because he can say that no, I'm not a convicted pedophile, but people won't say convicted. They're gonna just say he's a pedophile, and he can't weasel out of that. So that's not defamation. He's Tracy's a liar, like by omission.
I mean, tricks are for kids. All right, here we go.
17-year-old. He was convicted of prostitution with a 17-year-old. That is pedophilia under the law. So he was a convicted
pedophilia under the law.
Oh, you got wrecked.
Pedophilia is not defined. Pedophilia wasn't defined in those statutes.
As you spend time discussing, it would be legal in other jurisdictions.
Russ is right.
Federal law and under Florida state law, that is a minor.
Yeah,
so he was convicted of not trafficking, which is one of the violations of federal statute you see in the plea deal, but in the end he prostituted a minor, which
a person under 18. The Florida statute in which he pleaded guilty was
like 1 day from 18 though.
Procuring a person under 18 for prostitution. It was not procuring a child for pedophilia. In fact, pedophilia is seldom
it's still sex with a minor.
If ever that I'm aware of, except in maybe some ancillary context, appears in the federal criminal code, and most often does not appear in state criminal codes. So, but I mean, if your contention is that just in terms of colloquial speech,
Tracy,
we could all declare that anybody who is ever convicted of a sexual infraction involving a 17-year-old, even if the sexual activity with the 17-year-old would have been legal in other states.
Well, if it's not legal in the state that they did it,
summarily declare them to be a pedophile and call them a convicted pedophile. I just disagree. I guess I have a bit more fidelity to the accuracy of language than that. And
he's fidelity.
Verifiable
he is lying.
Rather than just throwing out all the most inflammatory terminology.
Even if it's legal in a different state. Not that they're in a state that's where it's legal. Even if it's legal in a different state. Like, he's going by laws of where they're not even present when they did it. Like, he's going by other states' laws. What is he making shit up, man?
I agree, but
not...
my personal opinion is more of the spirit of the rule, where it's like you're taking advantage of a young person that doesn't know what the fuck is going on. That's probably the main idea, right? So I don't care if it's 17 years and 3/4. Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Got it. But in Georgia, that's legal, though. Like, so? Okay? To me, that's kind of, in my sense, irrelevant, but for the details, Also, Michael's still wrong. He's still fucked in regards to that. Like, what is 8? He's doing the thing. What is 17, huh? What is it? It's like...
Yeah, I think Russ is wrecking him because he's getting them in the same way that Michael Tracey is arguing for, like about the
details of
law.
the rule.
Like he's getting him on his own territory.
Mm-hmm. But it's more about like, yes, I hear what you're saying. But the point is to showcase, like, hey, here's an IQ test you can't fail. Here it is. That's what Russ is actually doing, I think. Which is, yeah, I guess part of, like, hey, I'm going to speak your language. Is this okay? And Michael's still dancing around. He's a fucking dancing queen right now. All right, here we go.
Panic and mass hysteria, which is so reminiscent of the Epstein story. And can we go back to the Julie Brown thing, since you brought that up to accuse me of omitting crucial context? I mean, go to the first
you did in that article. It has nothing to do with whether
disagree.
You agree or don't agree with that article.
I disagree. I agree that the context of the non-prosecution agreement and the factors that went into negotiating it are important context to understand the totality of the Epstein case. But if we want to understand whether Jeffrey Epstein was a convicted pedophile, as has been stated over and over again without any context, media outlets constantly, then that's a more narrow issue to hone in on. And then we have to go look at the plea deal that he struck. And
but Michael, you yourself can see
and look at who the victim was that was identified by the prosecutors and confirmed by the judge that Epstein had acknowledged victimizing for the purposes of his guilty plea under that Florida statute. And I don't think it's common knowledge, do you, that the one underage victim or victim who was not 18, who was identified in that June 30th, 2008 plea hearing.
Yeah,
when Epstein entered his guilty plea, that the one victim who was not 18, who was identified as having been victimized him, was the 17-year-old who was then older, but had been 17, nearly 18 at the time of the claimed offense by Epstein. Like, do you think that's common knowledge? Do you think people are aware of that when they just think about, in general terms, the Epstein story? And if not, why not?
No, because you're taking it completely out of context. And in fact,
I don't agree that it's out of context. Again, if people want more context about the Florida non-prosecution agreement, I can refer you to other articles and podcasts and so forth that I've done on it.
Okay, so let's see what you've said about that.
Fabulous
article
that besides having sex with a 17-year-old girl or multiple 17-year-old girls, and I'm going to ask this again, and I swear it's the 5th time, and I'm asking it again because I don't know your answer. Is there evidence, in your view, compelling evidence, that he also had sex with 15-year-old girls and 16-year-old girls?
I've answered you, Glenn. There's a 16-year-old who is in this Palm Beach document dump. Anybody can go look. Who I think credibly attests to having had sexual contact with Epstein when she was 16, and she was asked, "Did Epstein know you were 16?" And I think she credibly says that she knows Epstein to have known that she was 16. In other circumstances, the girls were strategizing amongst themselves to lie about their age so they could go to his house and collect the $200 so they could go to the mall afterwards after performing a massage of varying degrees of sexualization, whether it was just stripping down to their underwear and not engaging in any outright sexual acts, or sometimes engaging in some more sexual acts. Again, I'm not defending any of it. I'm just reciting these facts to you because you're
Michael straight. Well, okay, let me say that. Sorry, Jesse. Like, this fool has a mixtape, bro. They got a mixtape ready for this fool. It's like, if you don't take care of your P's and Q's, guess what? There's a fucking mixtape ready to waiting for you. And this fool, based on, we covered a lot of the shit that they showed. Not that. I think it was like a Substack article. I didn't read that, but other stuff like his video form, we went over that shit. Right? We're like, yo, what the fuck is this? And now someone made a fucking mixtape out of it, Michael. And I see the sad look on his face, like, fuck.
So I went over the document, because he kept referring to this document that nobody reads, and I went over to find that information. But he's doing, he's setting up, these are dominoes, but he's not doing them he's not playing out the whole tape. He's playing it out like a show, man. He's gonna kind of Candace, like, he's flipping over one card. It's like, okay, wait, what you got to say about this? And then he's gonna do the 14-year-old after. And you're like, what about this? It's like, I gotta appreciate like how Russ is doing this.
It's mixtape status. He's wrecking this shit. I mean, 1 second. Sorry. I need to get this fixed at some point. I don't know what it is. Either way, let's hit play. Michael, explain yourself.
So it doesn't seem like you're denying the overall premise that by most people's definition, Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile. At which point, what is the point of the exercise? Like, what point are you making if you're conceding
simple question,
the general facts of the case as people understand them?
First of all, in normal circumstances, I promise you, I'm not particularly interested in litigating the meaning of the word pedophile because it does nobody any good.
So say
it automatically causes people to deactivate their critical faculties and just convert into this primal.
No, Michael.
Moralizing outrage.
Whatever.
And
let him go.
However,
that's stupid.
He's playing into Russ's game.
No,
that's
playing
the
into
clinical definition of pedophilia.
What you just said is stupid.
He's going to do this,
if you look it up, in terms
and then he's going to
of
bring out the
medical
14-year-old.
And what is accepted by every medical association, the clinical definition of pedophilia is sexual attraction to prepubescent children. Now, if we want to somehow expand that definition in the political arena, or on social media, or just in everyday speech,
as
to
a
include
society,
anybody
this
who
is
is
kind
not
of a
above the legal
cultural
age of
standard.
consent in a particular state. So for some reason,
So are we talking about
sexual activity with
14-year-olds,
So he's trying to-
15-year-olds,
Florida, but not
16-year-olds?
in Georgia, then I just don't see
He's
how that's
creepy.
That's very French of you,
Ew.
Michael.
on this story.
Yes.
And the
That's why
16-year-old,
he's on today.
listening back to that,
He's waiting for
I
He
this.
think
looks
I
like
might
a
have-
pea. I don't want to
He's
be
sweaty
rude,
as
but
fuck. He's sweaty as
Oh,
fuck.
I know this woman. She's the pizza maker.
What? No. But at
yes.
best, what can I get?
There she is.
What can I give Michael here is like at best, like you're trying to demystify the word pedophile for.
I'm not talking
Look
about
at-
Michael.
looking
I'm
at-
talking about.
I know
the
what
man
you're
that
saying,
just spoke.
Harrison. Don't worry.
I know the voice.
I get what you're saying.
I remember that voice.
I get what you're saying. I'm moving
Go
on.
Harrison.
I'm moving on. At best, Michael Tracey's trying to demystify the word, but I don't know for what reason. Why not just do that in general? I don't understand why he has to leech himself onto this
it's
topic.
weird.
It's very weird, actually. I'm like, yo, what's going on here, dude? And I'm trying to stay away from just like accusing him of being this or that, but like, yo, Michael, people are gonna have questions for you, my man.
I thought you were somebody else for a while. I was like, oh my goodness, you're the pizza lady.
Not
I think you're
pizza
wrong,
lady.
but
No, I don't have pizza. I don't sell pizza.
Not anymore.
Not ever.
Harrison's the
What?
idiot.
Pizza
Let's
was
move on.
nasty.
Harrison,
It-
Moving
it's
on.
like Pizza Gate.
say Pizzagate. All right, here we go. It's Michael. Sorry, it looks weird. People are gonna call it as weird. Here we go.
Slightly
This is what it is.
conflated some of the details, and I'm happy to
I hope you're
clarify
innocent
them
of
because that was the
something,
same 17 person who was 17
It is what it
ultimately
is.
who had the sexual intercourse, she said, on the eve of her 18th birthday with Epstein, and then was the one victim who was identified when Epstein entered his guilty plea in June 2008. She indicated that she may have been 16 when she first encountered Epstein. She couldn't remember the dates. She said it was possible that she was 16, but she knew for sure she was 17 when the bulk of the quote massages and then the sexual intercourse took place. But she
you
thought
said
she
in
was
that interview,
possible
if
she
I
might have
recall
been
correctly,
16.
she had sexual contact with Epstein, but prior to intercourse, right? Contact with him
Yeah,
of a sexual
yes.
nature as a 16-year-old, right?
No. On the first encounter, okay, and then, again, just to stipulate, I'm not condoning Epstein's conduct.
I
Okay? I'm just trying
understand
to be
that.
accurate. She said what she says, what she told the Palm Beach police when they interviewed her, and then what she told the Florida grand jury when she was summoned to provide testimony in 2006, when Epstein was indicted on a state level for a solicitation of prostitution charge. Was that on the first encounter, she did basically stripped down to her underwear, and then she performed more or less a non-sexual massage in the sense that there was not overt sexual touching or contact aside from her stripping down to her underwear. Now, of course, it's still a sexual. It's still a sexualized scenario.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not condoning it.
Right.
But if we want to be specific about what was alleged and at what age, she did not allege that on the first encounter, when she was still possibly 16, she said that she had any sexual contact with Epstein at that time. But then she kept going back many more times because she enjoy it on some level, getting the $200 or $300 in cash. Sometimes he would upgrade it. Sometimes he would give her a gift in exchange for the sexualized massage. And then it culminated on the day before her 18th birthday when she had full sexual intercourse with Epstein.
Got $300, bro. She won.
For him in terms of
$300
what his proclivities were. Unfortunately, I've been forced to learn his
where'd you
sexual
get those Jordans from, bro?
Okay, so
where'd you get those Jordans from?
I mean, I
just
kind of
won, right?
Russell's question. So what's your point then? I mean,
exactly.
I just don't understand what
What do you mean the point? I was asked about
saying?
various details of the case by Glenn. I responded to them. You're asking me more details about certain aspects of like the legal minutia of the case. I'm addressing it. So
yeah,
you're asking me.
The key guy got the Allen key. What was that? Got the Allen key going? What is that?
I think when people look at your body of work as it pertains to this case, I think their perception is that you are more interested in litigating the legal
same way he drinks water too, man.
Than you are
one drop at a time. Apparently,
digging at the truth behind a lot of these unanswered questions about the scale and scope of the case.
So, yo, that's
and
Fiji water, bro. Take your time.
Involved. I mean, okay, so you're saying that
people just don't care about the legal minutia.
You seem to be parsing him soliciting a sexualized massage from a 16-year-old. You're parsing that and intercourse with her when she was 17 as if there's a meaningful difference there in the eyes of the average person. I think most people look at that broadly and say that's a despicable fucking
Michael Tracey thinks he's
right. And you seem to be more interested in litigating the legal minutia than in just of this whole thing, big picture.
Well, I know the legal minutia might be boring to a lot of people, especially self-proclaimed.
It is boring, yeah.
Including
experts. Yeah, it's kind of boring to me.
Yeah, and it's much more exciting to just casually speculate.
The real intellectuals
in the most
they
bombastic
debate 16 and
terms
17.
because what might the ultimate answer be to these unanswered questions.
Let me just.
And I'm sorry,
worthy of argumentation.
If you're going to
like,
go
the way
around
he's doing
just
it.
declaring that somebody was a convicted pedophile, and by any reasonable definition they were, I mean, this is just one narrow component of my overall critique, right? You're talking about one article. We can get into many other dimensions.
But
what I'm more interested in is not just litigating the legal minutia, although I will say it is interesting, don't you think, that all the most self-righteous so-called Epstein researchers and experts on the internet, like Whitney Webb, Daryl Cooper, Bryant, all these people who are constantly on all these podcasts opining authoritatively on the Epstein case as though they've just done unparalleled research and are just so immensely knowledgeable.
They didn't read more than me.
Around them and bask in the glow of the enormity of their knowledge. That virtually none of them.
He's a fucking weirdo, my man. That's some weirdo shit.
Yeah, this admittedly somewhat more boring.
You obsessed with them or something?
Legal
like what's
minutia. Which is available. It's in the public record. Like, if you want to be knowledgeable and conversant about the Epstein story, shouldn't you read the underlying court records? I mean, just the mere fact that you pulled up a 2018 article from Julie Brown, much of which is just wrong, much of which is contradicted by the documentary record. Explain it. Much of which commits far more egregious crimes of omission than I ever have.
Listen, I'm all for going like. But it doesn't sound like you're doing that in a real, honest way, Michael Tracey. It seems like you're asking for the shoe size of Hitler for the sake of, you're saying like transparency. Maybe his shoe size is important right now. Let's dig into it. What's his actual shoe size? Versus like, okay, well, people are trying to address the atrocities that are out here, over here. Like, really go into that. He's like, well, every detail matters. I'm like, but you're doing that in a way that comes off as, what do I say, subversive, not actually looking for facts or information. Guess what? It is important how big his shoe size is. Although it doesn't sound that way, but like in my mind, everything's important. So someone digging into details is actually important to do. But the way you're doing it, Michael, it just screams like you're like subverting from the bigger picture of things, which is what people are complaining about. In fact, you're being a naysayer of the bigger picture of questions, which is what? Clarification. Hey, what happened? Who was involved? What happened when? What happened to that court fucking deal? How'd that happen? Who got immunity for this? On and so forth. Those are the quote-unquote bigger questions in regards to this case that you seem to be like poo-pooing in a way. It's like, yo, that's why people are going to like accuse you of things, Michael Tracey. And you know what? I'm not getting in their way. If someone's like, man, maybe Michael Tracey has something to do with this. Maybe Michael Tracey slept with a 17-year-old in an 18-year-old legal state. Who knows? Guess what? The questions sound worthy to me right now on a human level, not on detailed journalistic level, on a human level. Like, yo, why are you working so hard in a direction like this, but leave details out in other cases, which unfortunately the due dissidence guys are unaware of, where he has said things that are like not detailed. They're not detailed at all. They're very vague. It comes from fucking testimony of Ghislaine Maxwell being interviewed by Todd fucking Blanche, a deputy attorney general. And then after that interview, she ends up in the fucking a nicer prison. Like, all of it screams weird and sus. According to her, she saw no sexual action between Epstein and other people at all. Meanwhile, like Michael Tracey says, he believes in that, right? He says he believes in that, the idea that, Epstein was sleeping with these girls. But Maxwell, somehow that was apparently present and around him and on these private plane jets and all that shit like that, apparently she had no fucking clue. Not a fucking clue about any of that. Never saw this guy, that lady. Never saw them on the plane ever, apparently, according to Ghislaine Maxwell. And he's like, yeah, I accept that. And it's like, yo, why is there so much scrutiny and detail in one area and then just lacks whatever the fuck in this other area? It screams weird. It does. And somehow Michael, if Michael can't see that, bro, then like, sorry, dude, question away. I would say to the audience or anyone, Russ, this Keaton guy, whoever, ask as many questions as you want. I will not sit up here and defend Michael Tracey if he's ignoring the idea that people have like questions about this stuff. You're all just conspiracy distractions, foreign policy. Like, come on. That's a lame excuse. We all know it. You sweaty fuck. Let's hit play. There we go. Sometimes, like, it's okay. There's details and shit. Like, sometimes the fucking the real shit gotta pop through, bro. Pause. Here we go.
Litigate that.
What's that?
If you're gonna write an article claiming this is all Epstein was convicted of, and this is why everyone who thinks that was a bizarre plea deal is wrong, that's fair. And people
the article wasn't about the bizarreness or lack thereof of the plea deal. It was whether Epstein
you're not a dumb guy.
A convicted
you
pedophile.
wanted the reader to come away with your pet theory that this is largely hysteria, which is a strange theory.
That is my contention.
Given that, yes,
right,
it's a strange theory. Given that you're conceding that he actually did have sex with what in our culture, in our society, most
he
people
conceded that. He pleaded guilty
children.
to that.
Okay.
He conceded to it.
Not to 14, 15, and 16-year-olds, which you seem in the Glenn interview to be conceding that these girls, but you seem to be blaming them, and I think that's part of what people react to as well. You talk about underage girls conspiring to get the money to go to the mall. It's just a classic and a very retrograde tendency.
He shrugged that off.
It's a retrograde tendency.
Their own sexual
I don't see why it's a retrograde tendency to be actually accurate about the underlying details.
15 and 16-year-old girls, to blame them for their own sexual assault.
I'm not blaming them. I've never blamed them.
To imply that they were
mercenary. It's not about allocating for what they were doing. It's about actually trying to resuscitate some measure of accuracy in how we discuss what the underlying issues of this are.
16, Michael, then it wouldn't matter why they were having sexual contact with Jeffrey Epstein or giving Jeffrey Epstein massages. If they're underage, then they have no age. That's why we have age of consent laws.
He didn't bring them up,
right? If
until Russ brought them up.
It doesn't really matter. Like, I mean, maybe he offered him a candy bar, right? Or maybe he offered $200 to go to the mall. Like, what difference does it make?
there are gradations of severity in sexual offenses, even
Okay, but
in
you
offenses against people who are not 18. The law recognizes this. The law punishes. And you say there's no meaningful difference.
The
between
girls won though. They
having
got a pair of
intercourse
Jordans,
with somebody who's 17,
some lipstick, a
and getting a
pocketbook.
sexualized massage from somebody who's 17 or 16 and has their underwear on. Well, I mean, the law does provide
the way
for
you
a
add
significant
caveats like
difference
that.
because you can be
Weird.
charged with offenses that range
I'm
in the
talking
degree
about,
of severity.
I'm talking about in the public
and
mind.
you would think that
Your
those
contention
differences
is
in
that this
severity
is
are tied to
hysteria,
the ethical
right?
calculus that would inform how we perceive the offense.
I think it is well past a moral red line for most ordinary people.
I've already said that Epstein crossed a moral red line for me. We're not talking about
I
just a moral red
understand that,
line being
but
crossed.
then
I'm not
why
exonerating
out
Epstein.
why out of the other
both
side of your
ways,
mouth do you insist that this is hysteria? If it's
because
so far past a moral level, if the underlying offenses here are so foul, right, and so obvious.
Well, I think the foulness has been exaggerated.
To yourself, as you admit,
Oh my
then
God.
why would you categorize the attitude towards this case as one of hysteria? You're making a claim about the emotional investment that people have in this case. When you call it hysteria, that's the argument you're making. You're not making a legal argument at that point. You are criticizing people's emotional reaction to this.
Well,
no, I don't think, and given the fact that whatever sexual contact you have with someone under the age of 18, right, or a minor,
right there.
crosses this very simple moral red line for, I would argue, all ordinary people, then at that point, I don't see how you can chalk the interest in this case up to hysteria.
Okay, I'll explain to you exactly how I can chalk it up to hysteria.
Sure, please.
Because the reason why that I have focused a great deal, although not exclusively by any means, on the slightly more arcane legal details that get chronically ignored despite the enormous amount of media bandwidth that gets dedicated to this story, and yet everybody thinks it's not particularly necessary to examine any of the underlying documentary or factual record, is because what is the common perception of the Epstein story? Why is it that people are so incensed?
OJ killed his wife.
Is that what you're actually fighting?
People are so, yes, I would say hysterical about it. Is because the basic, correct me if you think I'm wrong, but the consensus view generally
OJ
is
killed
that
his wife.
Epstein was running an enormous globe-spanning child sex trafficking and pedophilia operation that he enforced by blackmail, perhaps at the behest of some intelligence service. And then he got a, quote, sweetheart deal by federal prosecutors to let him off easy, let him serve a casual term of incarceration in Florida, and then he continued to prey on children or young women after his offense, and all of society is damned for all eternity because he was not intervened against earlier to prevent him from victimizing all these innocent children. And it's a huge scar on our national
he killed himself for nothing.
honor and dignity, and anybody who ever associated with
he was innocent.
Hold on.
all these innocent
Is he saying his real reasons?
Against earlier to prevent him from victimizing all these
National
innocent
dignity
children.
or something?
And it's a huge scar on our national honor and dignity, and anybody who ever associated with Epstein, no matter how peripherally, even if they exchanged a fleeting email, in 2009 or 2014 or something,
Can you imagine?
they're now to be.
Can you imagine? No, wait. Can you imagine? They in the files Michael Tracey 2009 emailed to Jeffrey Epstein. I'm sorry, it wrote itself. That's fucking funny though.
I completely imagine there's some reason that he may not want all these things to look as bad as they do.
Jesse, is his excuse Trump's excuse? What about all these innocent people that had nothing to do with this, that are going to be named in this stuff, and they're going to be in trouble for no reason because of the hysteria of these people? Meaning, majority of America, right? It's he's talking like the Trump administration in regards to hiding these things, right? And his answer is actually Alan Dershowitz. Hey, expose whoever, but it also exposed the victims, the quote-unquote victims, because these guys are perpetrators themselves. You know what I'm saying? That's his actual answer, is Alan Dershowitz. Now, is this motherfucker related to Alan Dershowitz somehow? Is it Game of Thrones? Is he the bastard of Alan Dershowitz? Is he? I don't know. that was bait for Michael Tracey fans. And also, what if? I'm just saying. Either way, here we go.
Even if they exchanged a fleeting email, in 2009 or 2014 or something, they're now to be condemned as having enabled Epstein somehow and perhaps themselves be complicit in his child sex trafficking operation. And oh, by the way,
why don't you just add context like your articles lack?
That I guess everybody is covered up. Now Trump is covering up for some reason, and the victims claim exist, and they were even going to fashion their own list, but never have. And that shows that all these child sex predators are being able to evade justice and get away with impunity for these heinous offenses. That's generally what people think is true about the Epstein story, right? That's
Michael Tracey. If you don't notice that, they're definitely trying to slow roll these things out. They're not trying to really get that shit out there. If you don't understand that, if you don't see that, then you're a fucking liar, my man. I'm sorry. I'll call you a fucking liar. I don't care how much you sweat in front of your fucking camera. I don't give a shit. If you can't see that they're trying to hamstring this whole thing from coming out, you're out of your fucking mind. You are. I'm sorry. You're in some sort of pathological territory at that point. So, yeah. Try your best.
But you didn't read Trump's statements where at no point has he said he's trying to cover this up.
Oh, okay. So, got it.
In the official record.
Oh, got it. I'm sorry. I'm just my brain, my ears, my eyes. I'm sorry. The astute genius Michael Tracey knows better. That reads people so well. Yeah. Here we go.
Just totally fictitious based on the available evidence. So
let me respond to that.
He screams a fucking liar right now. He screams like a fucking liar.
You do have to examine some of the underlying court records and transcripts and depositions and so forth, and it'll shed additional light on why that overblown, mega hysterical narrative is not actually grounded in anything credible.
All right, so Michael, I think that you are correct in saying that is generally speaking a widely held view. I would not concede, though, that in order to be outraged about this case, you must subscribe to everything you just said. Assuming there is no client list, assuming it was just Epstein preying upon very young
then show
women,
everyone.
Even if they were even if I go to absurd lengths to grant you things that you don't even want granted, which is that he never had sexual contact with a woman under 18. The fact that a man his age and of his wealth was engaging in transactions and of his sexual contact with a woman under 18. The fact that a man his age and of his wealth was engaging in transactional sex with 18-year-olds, that's a really scummy guy. Even if he's not a criminal, like I said, I'm going.
But the reason why this story is so
for you right now.
Right?
Hold on a second. Yes, I do believe that it is a stain upon the character of people who, knowing that about him, engaged with him to the extent that guys like Noam Chomsky and Steve Bannon and Woody Allen did, even if there were no crime. Even if there were no crime. And this is what I think you're missing about this, okay? Because when it comes to the legal minutia, you look at a story like Russiagate. In Russiagate, I was very interested in the legal minutia because the underlying offense was something I didn't really give a shit about. Oh, Donald Trump may have colluded with the Russians to get dirt on Hillary Clinton. Who the hell cares? All I care about is if the information is accurate. Whatever dirt is real that exists on Hillary Clinton is dirt that I, as a voter, have a right to know about. And so unless he committed a crime, don't bother me with it. I don't give a shit because the underlying offense is something that is no offense at all to me or to the average person, apparently, right? Because no one gave a shit about Russiagate. In the Epstein case, it's completely different. The underlying offense.
What?
You're saying he didn't give a fuck about Russiagate. So
that's just weird of a statement to say. He just turned it into tell this Keaton fuckface to shut the fuck up and let Russ go because apparently he's the fucking genius of the two. This Keaton guy, all his statements and interrogations and approaches have been dog shit compared to Russ. So shut the fuck up, let Russ go. Honestly, right? Come on. I didn't care about Russiagate. If these guys had important information on your elected leaders, Yeah, you would care about that. What? Let Russ, like, just shut up and let Russ go. That's what I would say. But here we go. Okay.
Here is the predatory exploitation of very young females, whether you want to call them women or girls, no matter what side of the 18-year-old line they fall on, it's still a moral outrage. Now, that does not make their age insignificant, obviously, because you have to determine whether or not crimes were committed and what crimes were committed. But this obsession on your part with the legal minutia really obscures the outrage that people are feeling about the entire dynamic, which is that you have this multimillionaire engaged in
Michael Tracey, people are mad.
sexual behavior with women who are much younger than he is. It's extremely creepy, chauvinistic, piggish.
I'll let it play. I'll be right back.
You already brought it up to 18 at a point to where most people won't hear.
I'm supposing no crimes were committed against underage girls. I'd still think he's a pig.
I'll be right back.
And given the fact that the people who cavorted with him are guys like Larry Summer and Noam Chomsky and Steve Bannon, Bill Clinton, people with tremendous power in the society, their character is to be litigated by the public. It is in the public interest to litigate their character. So if they're cavorting with a scumbag who's fucking 18-year-old girls, even if it's totally legal, that's still something in my interest to learn about. I still have a right to be upset about that. I think most ordinary people would be upset about that, even if there were no crimes committed.
Okay, so we would not be talking about Jeffrey Epstein right now if
I understand that, but I'm just
defense,
giving you okay, because you seem very blind to all of that.
Right? Hold on. We would not be talking about Jeffrey Epstein now in January of 2026 if the totality of his offenses, after he's now been dead for 6+ years, was that he was a scummy individual who might have had sex with younger women.
You know,
a lot of older men have sex with younger women. I'm sorry to break it to you, and it doesn't create a society-wide, months-long, morally outraged panic with all kinds of political ramifications.
Meets a 60-year-old at a bar. I don't know what bar they would meet at. It must be a pretty successful bar if they attract people of both those age groups. They meet and they hit it off and they want to go home and have fun with each other. That's fine. Okay, if a younger woman and an older man meet online and they hit it off, that's fine. There's something about flying women out to mansions and islands with the expectation that they make themselves sexually available to older men. Implicit in that is that you really can't say no because you'd be violating the arrangement if you did. That's different. That's predatory. That's scummy. And yes, given the fact that people of extreme influence within the society were partaking in that behavior, I think it is acceptable for the public to know who they are and to litigate how appropriate their actions were. I think that's totally within bounds. I don't give a fuck about Noam Chomsky's reputation. Fuck him.
Litigate all you want. That's fine with me. I've never said that people aren't entitled to litigate the behavior of prominent public figures.
Right, but it's not the same as like a younger woman meeting an older guy and sucking him off. Like that happens. That's fine. I'm not I'm not fucking Amish over here. I'm just saying there's a difference in the arrangement.
Can I address what you just said? Okay. So just to go back to what I was trying to say in response to your comments.
Yeah.
We would not be talking about Jeffrey Epstein in January of 2026 if the sum total of his offenses were that he was a scummy guy and he had sexual contact with younger women in a way that people find to be morally repellent, right? The reason why we're talking about Jeffrey Epstein is because there's a theory that you just acknowledged is what a lot of people, a majority of people, maybe even like a 90% plus of people believe when they hear the name Jeffrey Epstein. The theory that he was running a child sex trafficking operation of monumental proportions, the most notorious quote pedophile.
Hey, Michael, that's what the other things are for. I'm sorry. You taking a small percentage of what we actually know about and using that as well, where's your proof for this sex trafficking? Like, well, fuck them. Let's ask for more percentage of information. That's all you got to do. If that's your main fucking point, you'd ask for more information, which is what people are fucking asking for whatever reason. If they're like, hey, this guy's definitely a pedophile, bro. Trust me. Let's get the information. I can show you. Right? Whatever the reason is. Or, oh, you know what? This is blown out of proportion. It's all conspiracy theories on the internet. Guess what? He's actually innocent of stuff. I want the information. Whatever reason they're asking for the information for. Either way, the point is to ask for the information. You fucking dumb fuck. That's it. But Michael jumps the gun on other things and doesn't hold himself to account in regards to those somehow. But now he's like at the pinnacle of journalism when it comes to Epstein. Bull fucking shit. You're a fucking weirdo, my man. I don't know what reasons for it. It's like, what's it for? But like, you're a weirdo. It's something pathological to me. Every time I fucking hear you talk, very fucking weird to me. Either way, here we go. It's a little bit more. Doesn't matter.
File basically in
Sorry,
American history or even world history, and that he somehow was able to escape accountability for those offenses with either the overt or implicit assistance of high power.
I would agree with you. Yes, I understand what you're saying. I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm not trying to be difficult.
That's why we're talking about this right now. And if that theory
is
right. fundamentally predicated on a hysterical misreading of the actual facts,
then
I think that
you're probably
out.
Russ, I'm sorry. Let me just get this point. You're probably right about that because of the extent to which this kind of chauvinistic behavior is pervasive in the society in certain elite circles.
Say, go ahead, Russ.
For example, right? Leonardo DiCaprio with the girls.
But
hold on a second, Michael.
Really quickly.
Monica Lewinsky was of age when she sucked Bill Clinton off in the Oval Office. That was still a major scandal for good reason because he's the president of the United States.
Monica fucking Lewinsky?
25, 30 years his senior, whatever the ages were.
Yo, Keaton guys, say Russ, go ahead and hit mute.
Clinton engaged in some kind of sexually predatory behavior against Monica Lewinsky. It was that
Michael's so comfortable now.
No, I believe it was. No. I believe it was.
People said a lot of things about Monica Lewinsky, but for the most part, okay.
They didn't think Bill Clinton was.
I was
you're
there.
telling me.
It was very much
hold
about.
on. I've never heard this one
now.
before. You're telling me that people did not criticize Bill Clinton for taking advantage of a staffer or an intern who was infatuated with him and exploiting that in a predatory way. Are you telling me that was not the take on Monica Lewinsky? I've never heard that before.
Monica Lewinsky.
Would get him labeled like a sex offender, right?
Not a sex offender, a scumbag.
Not a sex offender. It wasn't illegal.
Listen, I shouldn't have gone down this road with you because, as I mentioned, I'm giving you more than you even asked for. I'm saying even if there were no crimes, we know there were crimes. I'm just trying to communicate to you that your focus on the minutia of the case is kind of missing the forest for the trees, if you will.
And also, the basic premise, nothing to see here. When you
I never said nothing to see
pattern. Well, your overall take
that's not my overall take.
Think that
if I thought there was nothing to see here, why would I have spent so much time and energy covering copious amounts of detail from every which way on the story?
Belief that he was running a blackmail ring is just crazy.
There's no evidentiary basis for it.
When you look at when you've got an active cover up, as many would assert, particularly given I don't think you would assert that they blacked out 199 pages because they all had the names of victims.
Overwhelmingly, yes.
Or that they refused
to. You know why? I have read
199 pages.
Here's where reading the actual legal filings can be helpful. Again, I know it's not the most exciting reading material for most people, but it would be helpful to advise yourself of what rationale went into the imposition of those redactions if you're going to make statements about what those redactions supposedly signify. There was, before December 19th, when the first tranche of them came out, there was intensive back and forth in the Southern District of New York and to some degree in the Southern District of Florida about the scope of the intended redactions that the DOJ was going to impose on the forthcoming release of Epstein files. The so-called victims' lawyers, Bradley Edwards, was sending letters to the two key judges in the Southern District of New York, Judge Engelmeyer and Berman, demanding that the judges intervene and essentially issue an order that would require the DOJ to impose even more expansive redactions, essentially, on the files than is really made clear by the Epstein Files Transparency Act. And Bradley Edwards, again, who's just running a racket. He's incredibly wealthy from all these extortionist lawsuits that he's filed. He's once again suing in hopes of getting a class action settlement, even more giant financial institutions, so he can get a 30% cut from the resulting
Is Bradley fucking Edwards running the fucking DOJ? The White House? It's like, okay. I guess important. Sure, they did lawsuits to make money out of this. I'm sure Diddy victims doing lawsuits to make money out of it. But like, what's the excuse for why the White House is blatantly covering things up? Blatantly. Sorry, no way around it. Either they are the next level of incompetence. Good luck, Michael Tracey, arguing that. Or they're purposely covering shit up. Which seems a lot more likely. No one cares about this stuff anymore. What are you talking about? No one cares about this. We're still talking about this fucking guy? What the fuck? Shut up. Real MAGA doesn't care. Then he found out they all care. There we go. Like,
hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever that will stem from it, just like he did with J.P. Morgan and Deutsche Bank. He's now, as of October of this year, along with David Boies, suing Bank of America and Bank of New York Mellon. But what he said, what he demanded was that the DOJ confer with him personally and take the secret list that he has of something like 300 or 400 victims that have never been adjudicated, never have had the first thing about their claims corroborated by anyone, and then redact public records on the basis of the claim that
that's what the 199 pages are.
Thank you, Russ.
You've seen.
Of course, I don't know it for a total certainty.
Okay, so you don't know that. You're simply making this argument in more detail. No, it seems very unlikely that there are 199 pages of victims' names.
I'm not sure why you find it to be unlikely. If there's a case file on a particular victim that the FBI was interviewing,
Tracey's like, why is that unlikely?
Let me give you an example of why people.
It contains
because we already know
of identifying details pertaining to that alleged.
Hey, God.
Like, it just blows my mind why Michael Tracey thinks it's unlikely that those pages aren't all the redactions aren't victims. But I think Russ set it up that way too. I think he set it up that way because he knows that there's more evidence that it's not.
I think it was obvious. The 190 fucking pages, whatever the fuck it is, maybe 119, maybe I think it was. Whatever it is, it was like all blacked. Not a single fucking word.
Yeah.
Right? All blacked out. And it's like, well, make that make sense. Are they all just names of accused victims? Like, right? So thus they're leaving out context on purpose. Right?
Yeah.
You could say blank accused blank of doing this. Right? You could do that. But instead it's the entire page for like 100-something fucking pages straight. And like make that make sense in reality. But good.
I completely agree with you. Like, you can't have wall to wall blackout and say it's only victims. But at the same time, like he, if we didn't know more by now, like he could say like we just don't know what's behind those blackout redactions. We don't know. Like he could actually say that, but now we do know, and so he's gonna get wrecked again.
Yes, and also the explanatory hearings that were supposed to happen in regards to why is this redacted the way it's redacted, which is part of that Transparency Act that Michael is poo-pooing. Like, well, maybe there is some shit, there's some sort of legalese to skip around certain things, but like that is apparently a part of that. Of like, explain your redactions. You can't just redact shit and move on. Explain your redactions. Apparently that's part of that. So thus, yeah, like, all right, here we go. Because I'm curious. Because this Keaton guy should shut the fuck up. Let Russ go. Because Michael's flailing. Here we go.
Names.
I'm not sure why you find it to be unlikely. If there's a case file on a particular victim that the FBI was interviewing,
okay,
it's
Michael,
not that unlikely. If there's a case file,
let me give you an example of why people.
It can pertaining to that alleged victim, then I don't think it's totally fine. If there's a case file,
let me give you an example of why people.
And it contains a multitude of identifying details pertaining to that alleged victim, then I don't think it's totally implausible at all.
You don't think it's implausible that there's 199 pages of victims?
To redact everything.
You don't think it's to protect co-conspirators? You don't think a lot of these redactions?
Oh, he's going to do the shit I just said. before.
I don't see a whole lot of grounds for suspecting that. If you can give me some evidence,
10
as to
co-conspirators,
why that's a
right?
reasonable suspicion to have.
Some were blanked
then I'm
out.
happy to
Leslie
look at it.
Wexler was there.
I will show you right now. So here's Cash Patel in a very famous clip.
That is there, apparently.
None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Okay.
Okay, so no evidence that he trafficked to anybody else. And yet, when the files came out, this was among them. I'm sure you've seen this for anyone who hasn't.
Yeah.
But they're innocent, so that's why they let them go.
Of the 10 co-conspirators, 3 have been located in Florida.
Jesse, they didn't press charges, so like they were innocent
Boston,
then.
One in
You
New
know
York
what I'm saying?
City, 1 in Connecticut were located and served. 4 of the 10 are outstanding, with attempts having been made. 1 is a wealthy businessman in Ohio, and so on.
That's
why would
Wexner,
Cash Patel? Clearly, we know now he's lying. He's lying in that testimony. They did have this evidence.
Tracey's like, no,
Now, either
not.
I will allow for gross incompetence when you're talking about crazy eyes, Cash Patel. That's possible, but it does give people the reasonable to combine this with a lot of the other very bizarre circumstances of Epstein's whole trajectory. You have this college dropout who gets a job at a private school, is elevated to Bear Stearns, is laid off from Bear Stearns, goes on to create a boutique financial services company that only takes billionaires, winds up having power of attorney with a billionaire with no background in financial services. Michael, you seem to feel
Actually, it reminds me a little bit of
anybody who
JD
looks
Vance.
at this and says, well, there's got to be more going on there than just the guy talked a great line of bullshit, which I've seen you assert as the explanation for this.
I don't know that I've asserted that as like the ultimate all-consuming explanation for anything. Epstein did talk a lot of bullshit to embellish his status and to network.
Okay, you threw that in. I'm not going to say you spent a lot of time saying that. It was something you threw in an exchange.
Russ is smoking this full pause.
Bullshitter.
He's working this full shit.
You're talking.
Fuck your details or whatever.
I mean, I don't know. If you look at some of his notes that have emerged, that's hard to imagine. He actually
doesn't mean that he was a bullshitter in every respect.
And if you look at the drop site news reporting, which reveals a lot of his connections with Ehud Barak.
Okay, can I just address the co-conspirators thing before we get too far
Israel? When you I mean, we're not going to we don't have time to litigate all that. But I'm just saying.
Okay.
The overall premise that this guy was running a blackmail ring, that he worked for intelligence, when you look at the fact pattern, I think most people, including the plea deal that he got in violation of all normal procedures while he was in Israel, by the way.
He didn't get the plea deal while he was in Israel.
Well, they were negotiating it while he was in Israel.
There was a period.
Actual agreement.
No, I don't think no. While it was being negotiated, he wasn't in Israel in terms of when he first signed it. In September of 2007, there was obviously a period in April, I think 2008.
When this was ongoing, he went to Israel. So when people look at so when people look at all that, Occam's razor, I don't think is unreasonable.
But why did Michael Tracy say no?
For people, including
Jesse.
journalists and the average person, to say
to make it look like it was
something going on there. There is a conspiracy there.
Okay,
now,
I mean, I agree.
And
people would often not to draw
I'd
a
rather
direct
go something
parallel
simple
because they're
than
not directly
where Russ is going with us.
analogous. But that's very reminiscent of what I would constantly hear when during Russiagate people would tell me, "Look, use Occam's razor. Look at all these ties." I know you're not. I know you're not. But it's a similar principle.
No doubt about
Look at all these ties that people in the Trump campaign or the Trump
Don't know why.
organization appear to have with Russians who may be connected in some ancillary way to the Russian state. And we're seeing example after example of this. And we all know where there's smoke, there's fire. So although we don't have actual hard evidence of our underlying thesis.
And also in that example, like I mentioned earlier, the fire wasn't really fire because no one gave a shit if Donald Trump got information from the Russians about Hillary Clinton. People do give a shit if people are blackmailing other people about them being on camera having sex with children.
Story in the United States, pretty much.
But like put yourself on mute, my man. Let Russ go.
2017, 18.
Yeah, that was a creation of the media that had very little interest at the rank and file level.
You got to give me a little bit more time because you said a lot there. I want to get
to it. We will, but let me just say one.
That's called the Dubster special. Wait, you gave me room, so I'm gonna like argue with you. Even though this guy asked me a question first, I'm gonna skip you and answer this guy's question over here because it gives me room. Shit was getting like down to the wire, but now this little question over here like allowed me to escape. Thank you. Which is what I think Tracey was trying to do right there. But either way, here we go. Whatever.
Of the main points that you seem to be making is that there's such a uniformity of opinion about Epstein. That was never the case with Russiagate. It was primarily an MSNBC liberal class CNN fixation with a lot of dissenting
with no detail
journalists, including yourself, including Matt.
Right, which is why the coverage of the Epstein story is so much.
Now he accepts lack of detail all of a sudden. Just saying. All right, here we go.
Journalists, including yourself, including Matt.
Right, which is why the coverage of the Epstein story is so much more egregious because there's total uniformity. Whereas at least
Joe Rogan was telling the Russian narrative too,
because of the evidence,
rational dissenting perspectives.
Let me
address the co-conspirators thing, okay?
Yes.
Okay, so you played that clip of Kash Patel. First, I'm the last person to defend Kash Patel on virtually anything at this point. I have said, and I don't often do this, but I said if he has any integrity, he should resign, both over his mishandling of the Epstein issue as well as other ridiculous stuff that he's done over the course of his tenure as FBI director, and his like psychotic little cohort Bongino.
Let's be friends now.
Finally has done that, but so should Kash Patel. And the reason why I think Kash Patel ought to resign if he has any integrity is not because I have any basis to allege that he has covered up this universe of Epstein co-conspirators who are guilty of child sex trafficking offenses, but because when he was a private citizen, he said the most absurd things about the nature of the Epstein story that he couldn't have possibly had any legitimate grounds for, such as going on a dopey podcast in December of 2023 and telling the then FBI director, Christopher Wray, that he should, quote, put his big boy pants on and tell us who the pedophiles were, as though Christopher Wray must have just had this list of pedophiles sitting in a vault somewhere.
He PR fucked up, but he got the story right.
And with the snap of his fingers, he could have provided that list to the public so we would all know who the elite satanic pedophiles are.
So
that was ridiculous.
Kash Patel,
that was
PR
Patel
fucked up, but then
playing to a crowd.
He got the actual
playing to the
story
algorithm
correct,
as he was on the podcast circuit. And you have of other right-wing
that he was wrong,
including many in the Trump
that there was more things
who did that same routine. Bongino included. JD Vance would toy with it here and there, but that's what during the Biden administration suggests that the Democrats in power were covering up a giant child rape ring to protect their donors and supporters who were also liberals or Democrats. That's what got the juices flowing for the out of power Republicans at the time. Now you see that flipped, where it's the Democrats for the most part now who are convinced that the cover-up continues, but this time it's to protect Trump or maybe other Republicans. It's hard to really ever know.
It's like really it's actually about Pizzagate defense.
What do you mean?
Like, so the Pizzagate thing came out, and it's generally known as, well, it depends on what people believe, but people either think there's conspiracy about people in power ordering pizza and they're actually kids, or they think this is all some kind of like conspiracy thing and it's all just fantasy, right? Like what he's essentially arguing about with Epstein. It's like, well, it's just all like people like as if it's in his this made up stuff that people get carried away with.
Sure.
Although in Epstein we have I mean, I never looked into the Pizzagate stuff very much, but in Epstein, like, we're all seeing this stuff, right? And he's still defending it.
But by his words, he's kind of saying they're afraid to show you that they don't have anything. Kind of, I think that's where he's like going towards right now, right? And at least in this section, right? They're afraid to show that there's nothing there, right? But at the same time, they were like saying, like, yeah, there's nothing there, right? That was the explanation initially.
He is saying that, yeah.
But now it's like, damn, there's so many like crazy motherfuckers out there that are just demanding for things that don't exist. So thus they will fake a release. And they're afraid that the people will find out one day that there's nothing there. I don't believe that. I'm sorry. I don't believe that. I mean, just for what, other than like most incompetent dumb fucks on planet Earth, I can't see a reason for that. I really can't. As a distraction, it's not working. It's gone now. Like, I didn't talk about this topic till these fools were talking about it, basically. Right? So Prop suggested this fucking video. Other than that, people are on the Venezuela and Iran and other stuff, the ICE shooting thing. So, I don't get it.
I've been wanting to see Michael Tracey because, although I usually hate it, it's just so hard now. Like, how is he holding up? He's not like conceding. He'll concede less. Things that he's admitted to, he concedes less unless you bring it up, like Russ did.
Yeah, I got nothing. A little bit more. I'm trying. It's late. Here we go.
Become a partisan sort of ping pong ball in exactly that way. So just on Kash Patel, I've already called for him to resign, which is not something I ordinarily do, given his mishandling of this issue and the lack of credibility he now has to convey to the public information that might be actually more factually grounded, but people are never going to take seriously, given his comments as a private citizen and also just the incompetence with which this whole rollout has been executed in many respects. But you said we now know for sure somehow that Kash Patel was lying in that clip. Sorry, we don't know that for sure. He said that there was no basis. He said that in that.
No, we're sure he's lying.
This was also stated in the July 6, 2025 FBI memo, FBI and DOJ memo that kind of launched this whole Epstein ruckus last summer. That after a review of the existing file, right, the FBI and DOJ had determined that there was no predicate, there was no evidentiary predicate to charge any additional individuals for their complicity in Epstein's purported crimes, right? So that has been said since July. It was repeated by Kash Patel in that testimony. And then you pull up that email, right, that came out last month in this initial release of the so-called Epstein files, and you see investigators or prosecutors emailing amongst themselves about these 10 co-conspirators. Now, you got to remember, they're in a preliminary investigatory phase. So they're not claiming at that point that they have evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that could convict anyone of being a co-conspirator of Epstein. And we can tell by context clues who some of them are. The Ohio businessman is clearly Leslie Wexner. And we know who others are, okay?
Indemnify co-conspirators.
We know who others are.
Why would they draft a plea deal that indemnifies co-conspirators?
I'll tell you. Have you read the 2020 Department of Justice Office of Professional Responsibility report that delved into this very issue in great detail? No. Okay, well, again, people should read the primary sources, and then they could learn the answer.
If you did the work,
I have read
to pose as though the answer must be so sinister that's being covered up. First of all, among the 10 co-conspirators that were mentioned in that email in 2019 are the named individuals from the 2008 non-prosecution agreement who we can find out. I mean, it's public record. We can find out who those named individuals were. And they were Epstein's lower level female staff who were adults who the government was trying to claim were conspiring with Epstein for a very low level conspiracy, in that they were conspiring with him to bring him the girls against whom Epstein was alleged to have committed the offenses in Palm Beach, right? Another fallacy here is that people think, oh, all the underage girls were being flown all over the place to engage in illegal underage sexual activity, where the vast, vast, vast majority of even the allegations, however credible they may or may not be, of sexual activity between Epstein and underage or people who are not 18, that was concentrated around the Palm Beach house. there's been little, if no, almost no evidence, not even any allegation that I'm aware of it being claimed that Epstein, quote, trafficked or transported girls who were 16, 17, 15 from someplace in the United States to the U.S. Virgin Islands, to his estate, the Virgin Islands, even though that's considered to be, quote, pedophile island in just the popular conception. But in that 2019 email, the co-conspirators, the 10, I wish actually the Epstein Files Transparency Act imposed transparency so we wouldn't have to speculate and we could know more without these superfluous redactions. But based on what we can infer, the co-conspirators include people who are now considered victims by the government and by the plaintiffs' attorneys, who were named in the Florida non-prosecution agreement because they were in Epstein's lower-level organization.
Howdy.
4 women. Sarah
Just got back from
Kellen,
playing
Nadia
Fortnite with my
Marcinko.
friends. We got 3 wins in a row. Can you believe that?
Oh my god, I was shit on you in Fortnite, by the way. You get dunked on. You know. But don't worry, I don't play it anymore. You kids are safe. Otherwise, I'd wreck your shit.
Bro, I'm shaking.
Anyways, here's more Michael Tracey.
Is this a video right now or no?
Yeah, it is. It's
okay. What's it about?
Oh god, Michael fucking Tracey and his sweaty ideas about Epstein. Yeah. Whatever sound effect that Harrison just played, it's about that. Put it that way. I'm only getting.
Damn, I thought that was what's his name? Prop, right? Prop.
He recommended,
was him.
but the sound effects are Harrison right now, for sure.
Shout out to Harrison.
But it's almost over. Just want to play a little bit more for context, I guess. Here we go.
Man, I haven't watched Dissidence in like over a year, man.
Fair enough. Keaton has been trash. Russ has been killing it. That's my impression so far. Either way, here we go.
Others. Well, Ghislaine Maxwell is claiming
phone
that
calls.
she's
No,
covered by
not
that agreement.
Ghislaine Maxwell was not named in the Florida non-prosecution.
It's one of her legal assertions that she shouldn't.
It's one of her legal assertions, but it's been rejected.
It covers her.
It's been rejected. That was part of her appeal to the Supreme Court. That the Supreme Court has now even declined to hear.
Bro, hold on, wait, pause real quick.
Yeah, so
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like I know I just joined in, but I kind of already know how like Tracey operates. I'm all about like the law and like how like you can like use that to like push human rights and shit like that. But I hate how he uses the quote unquote law to like do like just weird sweaty shit. Like it's fucking weird.
Semantics and dancing around. And how old is 17 really? I mean, that's okay age in Georgia, but like Florida, maybe it's different. I don't know. Yeah.
Like he's one of the people. Remember how I was talking about how that one case where the little girl was like 16 and like she was being trafficked, and then overnight, like when she turned 18, it became like, oh, it was confirmed that she's trafficked. Now she has to prove it that she's 18. I feel like Michael Tracey is one of the people that'd be like, oh, now you got to prove it.
Yeah. And a lot of this video would definitely, I think, prove you correct in regards to the technical details that Michael Tracey requires for people to be curious about a story that looks kind of weird, and the way that people are behaving around it looks very weird. Apparently, you need like court documented reasons to be skeptical, or hey, what the fuck's going on over here? According to Michael Tracey.
Yeah, and it's fucked up because like the major laws, like the real laws, are like on the side of human rights, but like unfortunately, like people like Michael Tracey that does like all these like legalese, and then you have like the American government that doesn't follow any of it.
I mean, there's no shadow of a doubt in regards to the Trump administration. They're definitely they're, for some reason, I can't say the reason, but they're definitely covering for this whole Epstein Files thing and the redactions and it being released. They're covering for it for sure. What do you got?
Do you ever think that like they're trying to, because in my opinion, I don't think Trump is like I mean, obviously he's not a representative of any of us, but I think like he's not a representative of even like the United States. Like I think he's more so like a representative of like the globe and like the multinational corporations. Like I think that's like who he's more representative of. So do you ever think that like the only reason why this Epstein stuff ever was able to come out is because they're trying to tank the legitimacy of the USA? That's what I've been kind of thinking recently.
What do you mean? Like tank the
Like
the empire
like
nature of the USA? Jacob?
Yeah, I know, like, I mean, obviously to us, they've never really had a good representation. I mean, a good well, what's the word? A good
Good standing.
good standing. Yeah, but like to the rest of the
Reputation.
world and everybody else. Yeah. Thank you. But like, I think the only reason why this Epstein stuff was able to like fester this big is because they're like purposefully trying to like tank the representation of the USA. That's just my theory about it. Because like Trump, his like allegiances and like his like allegiances aren't to the U.S. empire. It's more so to like the global financial capitalist of the globe. And like they don't have like they're not nationalistic. They don't have like ties to the USA. I mean everyone talks about how Trump is controlled by Israel, but I mean Israel has barely given them money compared to like Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has given a lot of money to the USA.
Yeah.
Like I mean people will talk about like the Muslim takeover, the immigrant takeover, but it's like nobody talks about how like Saudi Arabia owns like one of the biggest like oil companies or like oil refineries in Texas already. Saudi Aramco.
Okay.
Like they're buying up strategic assets.
Okay.
So while everyone's focused on like the immigrant takeover, quote unquote, it's like they're already buying up like strategic assets
and cultural assets too with Saudi
Yeah,
Arabia.
true. Like who know? I feel like in the next 2 years, Saudi Arabia might buy wrestling. To be honest with you,
There's some gaming stuff. I heard about that as well.
like
No, I
real
can
shit.
believe that.
Honestly, I think like they'll buy it up, but I think Vince McMahon will like be a part of that too. I heard that there too from Vince Russo.
Okay. I didn't hear that, but I could. I mean, Vince got a lot of money. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and he's tight with the Saudi government too.
He can hide out over there.
Yeah, and I think like all of them, they're all trying to like, 'cause they got their golden parachutes. They're gonna tank the United States and fucking like parachute over to like the global south because I mean just based off of demographics, like I mean Europe and like the West, they don't have it in them anymore to like continue on with what they're doing. I mean the people that like control the America have it in them, but like America itself doesn't have it in them anymore. And I think that's kind of why like the like they're switching the I mean I know they're still like bombing like areas in like the global south, but like I feel like slowly but surely they're like switching over the conflict zone over to Europe from the Middle East because like I mean if you look at like all like the I mean because I kind of think that like the people I mean they're devil worshippers but they're not dumb, you know what I mean? And it's like they're kind of like switching over the conflict zone from like the Middle East to Europe, as I said. And it's like, what's it called? People think, I mean, even analysts, they'll be like, oh, wow, that policy really backfired. But really, you should never look at the rhetoric or like the quote unquote policy goal as like the reason why something's happening. You should always look at like the actual actions because I feel like that's what they really want. Like, you know, with like Reaganism, how it said like, oh, we're going to lift the middle class. But it's like, we didn't realize that when they said the tide lifts all boats, we didn't realize that just meant yachts, right? So
yeah.
It's like I feel like sorry, what was I saying? I feel like
No, you got to point to that in regards to I've heard that idea before, and I have not been able to explain it away. The idea of like, well, as far as like the like quote unquote real power is in charge. Okay, maybe it's time for America to fall a bit and some other thing to rise, possibly. And thus, we're kind of siphoning and, let's be real, vampiring, blood sucking from these industries, these countries, yada, 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 to build up over here. And the whole idea of like, oh my God, our economy's falling, or oh my God, our economy is rising is all kind of artificial in a way. I've heard that idea before, and I find it quite interesting, but I don't know.
Because I heard we're already on like the fifth out of seventh stage of like empire collapse, so it kind of feels like the people that like run it are like, fuck it, let's just like speed up like the empire fall to like go somewhere else, you know?
I mean, I could imagine that. Like, what cost is it for anyone in political power or social power, corporate power, to move operations from, New York to Dubai? It's not much. For them, it's not much.
I was trying to tie in what I was saying about the one thing with something else, but I forgot. What was I saying beforehand? My bad. Kind of drunk, so I'm like
goddamn Fortnite.
My memory's like spotty. Yep. Brain rot 6-7.
I kind of got the main premise. I don't know. The main premise for me was like the empire changing hands, kind of in a way. Or
all right, good.
Power shifting.
Yeah, right now I'm making like a I remember I was telling you about in the comment section. I was making like a slideshow kind of about that.
Yeah.
I'm almost done with it. I was wondering if, I mean, not today, but like eventually I was wondering if like I can like present it to like the Discord like on a video if.
Oh, of course.
If, like that's cool. Oh, nice. Okay.
Oh, of course. We need more, actually. More of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, it's going to be 3 parts, so I don't know if you want to make like a 3-part video on it, but the last part is kind of gonna be like, oh, I think I remember what I was talking about. I think that like, okay, about the policy decisions, right? You know how the policies that the quote unquote United States has pushed has hurt like Europe as a whole more so than it has Russia. I mean, it's hurt Russia obviously, but it's hurt Europe as well. Like Germany is like crumbling, right? Like I mean, they like I forgot what like company it was, but like they closed their first manufacturing thing, something like that, for the first time in like nearly 100 years. Okay. Right? So I feel like a lot of like what they're doing, like I feel like it's not like a war on Russia or like a war on like the quote unquote Soviet Union, but it's more so like a war on Europe that America is pushing. Because it's like you only have a limited time to like pretend like you're going after the Soviet Union, because one, America is not really trying to like stop the Soviet Union, because the Soviet Union really can't like Russia really can't bring the Soviet Union back. So you only really have a limited like space to like pretend like you're going after them. And I feel like their ulterior motive, which is like the military industrial complex's motive, which is to like turn Europe into a conflict zone. And I think like the past few years has proven that a lot.
Okay. I'll say possibly. I don't know. If you mean like the Ukraine shit spilling over into Europe, like really like territorial wise, like spilling into Europe, I don't know.
Yeah, and them using like that as a justification to like hurt like Germany, because you know how they say Germany is the heart of Europe.
I don't, but maybe, I don't know.
Okay, so well they do say that, and if like what's it called? And they call Germany the sick man of Europe right now. And if that sick man dies, then Europe dies, because Germany's the manufacturing hub. It's like the heart of Europe.
Okay.
And they kind of tell Poland that like they can be like the pacemaker of Europe, but I don't think Poland can do it. Like I feel like like what's it called? Like Poland is the new if you're familiar with Honduras, Poland is the new Honduras, and okay. Ukraine is the new Israel in terms of Europe, because like you know how Poland was like the destabilization hub of the Central America and South America.
You mean
I feel like
Honduras?
yeah, sorry, Honduras. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Poland is playing that role for Europe, and then Ukraine is playing the Israel role for Europe.
Hmm.
That's what I'm kind of seeing.
Okay. I mean, for me personally, I'd go more with the idea of like a bottle cap, just like Libya in regards to Africa, like a bottle cap. I think Poland's like the bottle cap of fucking Europe in a way, just like Libya is the bottle cap of Africa in a way. And I think I'm not gonna call Israel a bottle cap, but it's like kind of like it's like you're entering the West. If you fuck with them, you're now in the West.
Yeah.
Even though they're in the Middle East, but you're basically in the West. You fuck with Israel. So in that sense, I'd have to think about it. I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Hopefully my presentation helps like show that, because I have a lot of stuff about that. That's why I wanted it to be 3 parts, and especially because we have some like Europeans in this Discord, I wanted to wait to do part 3. So when like a lot of like the European people are here, so I can like get some like feedback and pushback, because I want pushback for like my whole entire presentation, but especially like the part where it's like about Europe. And I want to see like if they feel if that's going on, or if like they kind of see it, or like it's like, oh shit, that kind of is happening.
Okay. Honestly, I would want them to see all your that's major pause. Jesus Christ. All parts of shut the fuck up. All parts of that. So you let me know when you want to do that, and I'll make sure. I mean, well, anyone, fuck European or American or Canadian or whatever the fuck, South American, whatever. I would tell them all to show up. I think personally.
Yeah, because I feel like it's a big shift, a big global shift. Just based off of sheer demographics, like, I mean, the West doesn't have the demographics anymore to push forward, honestly.
Now let me, fuck, because you don't know her name, I don't think. Sebs in this Discord. You know?
Oh
her?
yeah, the one that the name, what's her name? The username Boobs, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
She has brought that theory up in regards to, well, at least maybe not the same, but like kind of in the same neighborhood, I think, of like, almost time for these guys to fall and these guys to rise. That main idea right there definitely grabbed my attention. The other stuff, I'm very ignorant. I'm sorry. I'm just being honest. I don't know enough about all these different things. But that idea I've definitely heard from her before. And I would definitely let her know about that as someone that might be like seeing something that you're saying, possibly.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that'd be worth it. And interesting.
Yeah. And last thing about, before you resume, Poland, right? Over the past couple of years, I mean, Poland has really like transformed into a police state almost, right? Like they're already, like, over the past like couple of years, they've already been letting like U.S. soldiers in, and like there's like videos. I'm not sure if it's like fake, but like I've seen videos where it's like U.S. like, I don't know if they're soldiers or like covert soldiers, but like they're like fucking with like the Poland citizens. Like they'll be like messing with them, and then the people will basically be like, stop, right? And they'll be like, well, like, you can't do anything about it. You think Russia's gonna save you? And it's like they're already like, the U.S. is already like encroaching on. I gotta show you the video like tomorrow or like later, but they're like, over the past couple of years, like a few years ago, there was like U.S. like, I don't know if it's like overt soldiers or covert soldiers, but they're like, Russia's not gonna like there's no point of complaining because Russia's not gonna save me. Basically, they're just like doing like whatever they want to Poland, turning into like a military state, making it into the new Honduras, basically, of Europe.
Who?
Okay.
Who is
Poland?
The U.S.
Yeah, U.S. is making Poland into the new Honduras.
Like an antagonizing.
I know
like
Poland
a narrative
is
antagonizing.
investing in their military a lot to prepare
I don't know
for Russia.
And And I feel like everyone thinks that like the whole Europe thing is going to be a world war, but I've kind of realized that I think it's just going to be a regional like conflict zone, like the MIC overseas.
Okay. And the downfall of the U.S. would be economic in a way, I guess. If a new power rised, maybe it's not on the land of the U.S. It'd be economic based, which has been said for a while. If that's what you're going with,
Yeah,
I'll let you present
military.
It. I'll let you present the thing first. You know. Okay. I'm curious. Now, once again, that goes for anyone listening or in the Discord at all. Pushback will happen. Every little scrutiny of detail, for sure, will happen.
I hope, because it's not about me being right about or like just telling people what things are. Like I really want pushback. Like I want to like improve like my presentation to like just in case I show like someone else it, like I want it to be like 100% correct. You know what I mean? It's not about me being right personally. It's about being like it's about it being real. You know what I mean?
Okay, respectable.
And there's going to be a lot of it that's like, you know, some stuff that touches on like informing like normie people or like people in the Discord that are like in the know more or less. That's going to be like a mix of that.
Okay. Fair enough. Also, one little thing. I'll say speak up more, man. If someone like cuts you off, say, yo, I'm talking, like, excuse me, 1 second. Let me say this. Let them fucking know. I'll say that to you personally. Fucking let it fly, man. Let it fucking fly.
For sure. I just don't like to interrupt people when they're speaking.
Oh, I understand that, but sometimes you might be making a point. Let it fucking fly. That's all I'll say.
Hey, what were you guys saying?
Shut the fuck up, Harrison. See that right there? Shut the fuck up, Harrison.
I don't know, because I wasn't listening.
Shut the fuck up.
He better be listening.
All right. Let's a little bit more of this. Then it's over, I think. It's
ring the bell. Ding ding ding.
Yeah, it's a little.
Hey, wait, how did you feel about I mean, I know you don't like sorry to just one more thing, right? Not even about politics.
Don't say I'm sorry. Let it fly. Go ahead.
It's not even about politics or anything in that realm, but like I know you don't like wrestling nowadays, but how did you feel about, I don't know if you've seen it, but how did you feel about the matchup where Drew McIntyre won the title? I feel like that was pretty good.
I did not see it.
To be honest.
Now,
it was a 3 stages of hell match. SmackDown main event. He won the title.
They did that in SmackDown? They did 3 stages of hell in fucking SmackDown? Okay. I didn't know that.
I think the 5th ever in history.
Is soap opera for men. It's imaginary.
Shut the fuck up, Harrison. Anyways.
We know, just like you're voting for Republican is imaginary.
I heard something that he won a title. I didn't know exactly when. I usually, like, for matches, I show up at pay-per-views. To be fair to K2C's whole, like, he loves modern wrestling. He watches all the fucking events. I show up for pay-per-views is basically what I do, personally. And
For sure.
So I didn't see SmackDown. I heard that he won a title. I heard someone, like, kind of happy about it. But I forgot his fucking name. CJ something. I forgot his fucking name. A YouTuber.
Oh, CJax.
CJ, yeah, yes. It's like Black Kid, right?
Yeah. 1920.
Yeah. I heard him say something about it, but I wasn't really, like, hardcore listening. It's more of like, recommended, let me watch it. Fuck it. Right? But
yeah, bro. I feel like you should watch The Hater. He's got some pretty good like takes on wrestling.
Once again, I have the Stevie Richards, I got the Jim Cornettes, and I got the CJ kid. That's kind of my rotation. So, like, recommended on YouTube, not me like running out of my way to like go find their shit. It's kind of recommended. So I watch their shit. That's kind of it.
Hopefully.
Hey, good.
Hopefully you add The Hater to your rotation, because I feel like he's a lot like he's got like a lot of takes from like because I think he's around like the same age as like you guys.
Okay.
Like he's got like a lot of like, and he started watching wrestling around the same time, but like he continued watching it, but like he has like a lot of like the same like takes that like you guys would have, like the millennials would have, because he is a millennial. So like he's been watching for a minute.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
And he's kind of like opened my eyes about like how much like I mean I know like nowadays like obviously wrestling has like its bright spots, a lot of low spots honestly, but they got some bright spots. But it's like he like tells it real, I feel like.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, damn man, because like if I was saying fuck politics and just doing the Art is Dead channel, I'd be all into wrestling right now, because the Cena heel turn, I was like, oh my god, we're back. For me, at least, right? From like I left for a long time, then that shit came back. I'm like, oh my god, that's a fucking moment to make something out of that. And I was dead ass sad. I'm like, yes, we're here now. And they fucked it up. They fucked it up badly.
Yeah, I feel like the ego of The Rock and Triple H fucked it up.
Well, like, I think mainly The Rock. Like, yo, shut the fuck up, bro. I'm sorry, dude. Like, this is where you started at. Like, pay some homage to the thing you grew up in, bro. You do this little heel spot, then you're gone all of a sudden. Travis fucking Scott.
Exactly.
What are we doing? You fucking idiot.
Hey, how did you feel about? I don't know if you've seen it, but how did you feel about the road to WrestleMania 2024 with like The Rock turned heel and shit like that? I feel like that was pretty good. That was like some of the best shit I've seen in a minute.
Jesus Christ, do I know that one? I know. Listen,
the final boss character.
Listen,
when he turned heel for the first time in like over a decade.
The Rock with the belt and Cena, give me your soul. Shit, I knew that kind of. Or Cody actually is for Cody, right? Like, give me your soul, Cody. And Cody's like, nah, fuck that. And that exact scene there itself was fucking gold, and they fucking ruined it. They ruined it.
They did. And I feel like I kind of feel like they've like this year they've started off hot with like the I mean as hot as it can be with like this current era, right? But I feel like they've started off hot with like this current Royal Rumble season, because like, or not even Royal Rumble, like WrestleMania season, because like last year all they were doing was like resting on their laurels and like resting on the fact that like it's John Cena's last year and that's all they did. Like they barely did like one thing like once a month. Like they barely started doing shit like last year's WrestleMania. Like they barely started doing shit like the month before WrestleMania. It's like, come on, you gotta start shit up early for anyone to be interested.
But that would work.
In my opinion.
That would work if you had that moment where it's like if we lulled you to sleep and then boom, Cena does the smile to frown. I'm gonna fuck you up now, Cody Rhodes. And yes, The Rock is on my team and whatever the fuck, right? The lulls actually work as storytelling, because like, man, what's going on here? Just nothing happening. But meanwhile, it's like Cena was plotting behind the scenes to fucking fuck over the faces of the company and say, yo, I deserve this shit. This is my fucking shit. And then Cena like fucks them up and all that. Like they could have did something with that, but they said he's a heel, now he's a babyface. Fuck it, who cares? The fans don't care. Fuck it. Just let it happen. That's how the company treated the fans in those moments. And then that Cena ending, oh my fucking god! They said, "Fuck you fans, fuck you fans."
Bro, everybody, even my family members that don't watch wrestling at all. Like I remember my grandfather was like, "Oh come," like he was like watching a little bit of like the John Cena last match, and he was like, "Come on, like they really did that to Cena. Like what the fuck? Like they can't do that."
It's his fucking retirement tour. I'm like, yo, sue them, John. Yo, John, sue the WWE, sue these fools, bro, for ruining your retirement tour. Seriously.
Exactly.
It is what it is. It is what it is. All right.
Yeah.
Let me end this real fast. Then I'm ready to argue.
For sure.
There's your video.
Okay, Mike, I gotta go use the restroom.
Don't say restroom. Say, I gotta take a piss. I gotta take a shit. I have to teach these little Zoomer motherfuckers, bro. I have to teach them. Anyways, there's your video. Please subscribe if you feel like. Comments, agree, disagree. Tell me what you think in the comment section. I turned into wrestling, but you know what? I'm not mad. It's the fucking dinner table. Shut the fuck up. Lock in. Harrison, lock in. Harrison, lock in.
It took like 4 hours.
Harrison, lock in. It's like 3 hours, okay? Shut the fuck up. But please, tell me what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. Also, please check out the Discord link if you want to join that. Please, join our Discord. We're here right now. Please, join up. If you feel like you might get wrecked, you might get rolled, you might get sound affected or something. Whatever. Join up. And obviously this video will be linked. Jesse, I'm echoing. What do you got? God. Jesse? No?
Yeah. Oh, investigate Michael Tracy.
Okay. Wait, you're gonna because you have no answers for Michael Tracy, which means there must be questions, which means there must be something sus there. Right? Kinda? Whatever. Either way, this video will be linked. Heaton was trash. Russ he killed it, I think. Michael Tracy, sweaty, as normal. Either way, check it out on your own if you want to. And most importantly, more than anything else, give this video, Harrison, a thumbs down.